All right. You ready, Con?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, hello there,
Let's go.
everybody. Welcome, welcome. Let's see. Today, we are going to be talking about Wuthering Waves here with Con. So, welcome,
Hello,
Con.
hello.
Yep.
Hello. My name is Khan.
Yep, yep. Yeah, so let's see. Do you want to just... Oh, hang on. Hang on. I think I'm hearing... I forgot to mute.
What?
There we go. I had your stream pulled up, and I'm like, I'm hearing extra stuff. It's just yours.
Oh, I see. I see. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
I might have.
So today
You're
we're just going to be
shooting.
talking about Wuthering Waves and kind of our thoughts and feelings and stuff on it, and kind of any other stuff because I have a couple of stuff I want to go over. I think you do as well. So
I think I have a lot more stuff, so I think honestly you should go first.
okay. Well, do you just kind of want to go and kind of give our own like overviews of the game first, and then we can go into more details on that later? Does that sound
Okay.
good? Or?
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see. I guess I'll go first, and then you can go ahead and give yours.
Sounds
So
good.
overall, I think the game's actually really fun and really good. Like, yeah, there have been some minor issues here and there, but overall, like, the game has been running really well for me on my PC. So I haven't had too many performance issues. The combat I think is very good. I'm still very bad at it, but it's very good and I enjoy it. I love how the devs are very attentive for everything. Like they've already given us like a bunch of extra free pulls. Like I think 10 free pulls and then a free 5-star, which I used to get Kalchar over here. And then the story I thought was pretty crap, but we can go into that later because I have some thoughts on it. I know everyone says it gets better later on. I don't necessarily agree with that, but I'm interested to hear what your thoughts are going to be on that. And then, yeah, overall, it's been a really good game, and I've been enjoying it a lot.
Honestly,
and I've completed the story too, by the way, I should say. I think you have too as well, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. So we don't have to worry about
course,
spoilers.
We don't have to worry about spoilers, but the viewers certainly do. So like,
yes.
keep that in mind. We're gonna be talking like throughout. Like we're gonna like talk about the whole story in general because this is like not only our first impression, but also like our impression with this whole story in general. So keep in mind,
have you
gonna be spoilers there.
Have you done the character stories too, or?
I did. There's only two, right? Ling Yang and Jian, I think. Yeah, I've done both. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
So there's that. But for me, it pretty much echoes like what Sequel said earlier. That like the. So honestly, I had a bit of a different take on it. Like we pretty much agree on the first part of the story that it's like it's kind of bad.
Yes.
I feel like they're trying to do what like Honkai Star Rail did with like the fake storyline, especially in the beginning. Like they give you all this bunch of stuff and texts and things and words that you don't get until like you don't understand until like later on.
Yeah, and I feel like they did a very bad job of explaining, like, because what was it? It's like they used unknown words to explain other unknown words, and then it's just it's not done very well at all. But
and like it's like imagine like if this feels like playing like Elden Ring, where like the story is like kind of like hidden here and there, except like they use new words that you will never be able to understand at all. Like at least like Elden Ring, they talk in like riddles, but like they don't really use new words.
True.
In this game, they put they say new words that you will never understand, and then like the whole puzzle is just straight up like unsolvable because you don't know the meaning of it.
And I don't think they have like do they have like an encyclopedia?
Let's see. No, not that I knew of. No, not necessarily. They just explain it like along the way as the story progresses. So like the explanation comes later most of the time. Like sometimes they explain it immediately when our character asks. But like A
Mm.
lot of them are just straight up like, "Oh, we'll talk about it later," or like, "She can explain it better, so like you better off talking to her after this." And I'm like, bro, I need to understand it now.
Exactly.
But yeah, the first part of the story is kind of like that for me. It's a pretty bad experience.
Mm.
Fortunately enough, like the gameplay is really good, so I endured.
Mm.
I pushed through, and the story got better along the second half part of the game after like chapter 3 of sort, and it starts to
Mm.
get better, especially after we started meeting like Scar. I think that's the story started to go, like to climb up from that point because
Yes and
after
not. Well,
all the after all like the mysteries in the first like couple acts, they actually started explaining things.
sort of. I don't know. I still have some concerns there, and I don't know if we want to dive right into that now or wait till you finish your thoughts are, but because like,
Well,
mm,
I think that's mostly my impression. The story gets better along the second half, and like the gameplay is honestly the best part of the game. I think
mm,
that's where like the developer like Kuro Games have put most of like their budget or like development time too, because the
mm.
gameplay is
Yeah,
really
yeah,
solid.
definitely. Yeah, so I guess let's go ahead and talk about like the story then, because I have thoughts on that, and I
Hmm.
want to kind of hear your thoughts on it too. So I think we're both in agreement that the beginning is
Hmm.
very odd because it's a lot of terms. It goes by very quickly, which isn't bad, but then they sent you on like a fetch quest, right? To essentially like uncover
Hmm.
this mystery that you don't really care or really know much
Or
about that.
understand, yeah.
And then you do meet up with Scar, which his performance was cool, and I liked his character a lot. But his story, like that section made, I don't feel like they resolved that very well, right? Because in this section he's going in and he's talking about what, the black lamb and everything, right? And
Hmm.
all that stuff. And I guess before I go into it, I have a question for Yukon. How many black
Yeah.
lambs were in that story?
When they talk about the story, I think they're talking only about like one Black Lambs,
But they had
because it was
two
the story
showing.
is referring
Mm.
referring to the girl, right?
It is, but they have a second black lamb there, which is supposed to be Scar himself, right? And
Oh,
so
yeah. No, so okay. Now that you mention it, yeah,
mhm.
Scar comes along the way
He
for
shows
some
up and
time.
then disappears.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
And he showed like he actually the way the story goes is that like he made like it seems that he's the one that influenced the other one to speak up. So like he's the
mm,
one that like make the girl question herself, and then like because the girl like all this time the girl was like if you read in the diary, especially
mm,
the first part, she was accepted into the village and like she didn't think anything is wrong.
right, right.
And like she follows like what everyone do and like says and everything, and she was happy and stuff like that. And then until the second Black Lamb comes in, which is him, like Scar, and Scar asks certain questions that makes the little girl like question herself.
Mm,
And that coupled with the fact that like I think like in the I don't know which part of the story, but like the girl fails to like defend the village and stuff,
yeah,
just
because
makes her
that
like
was a
doubt
weird.
herself even more.
Yeah, because that was a weird part where she seemed to have unlocked some sort of power that allowed her
Hmm.
to manipulate tacit discords in a certain way.
Hmm.
They didn't really go into much details on that, but like
Well,
the
I have a
biggest thing
theory
that,
on that actually.
well, like, and I wonder if it's we kind of thinking the same thing here, but like the big thing that I really hated was that they never truly explained what happened to that girl, right? They sort of, because I thought at first as the story was going on that the girl was actually that Discord that was actually talking and stuff throughout the story.
Hmm.
But then Yang
Yeah,
Yang's like, no, I think the girl is still alive or something, right? Which
I
made me
mean,
hmm?
technically the Discord is alive, right? So
No, no,
technically the
no.
girl.
I think she meant it more as like the Discord was only resonating with the past or like images of her, but the girl herself was actually still alive. If I'm remembering that dialogue correctly, I'll have to go back and rewatch that, but like so like they made it seem like the girl was alive, but then like the big problem is that they don't have any payoff for it. Like I thought that girl was going to be like the magistrate or something, and that's why she sent us to go to that village and find out about Scar, because she had a past with Scar and he's all dangerous and everything. But really, it's like we don't really learn too much from that outside of the fractals. I think, we learned there that they mess with humans in some way, with like humans and tacit discords and everything. But it's like I was really expecting that story to have more of a payoff
from the story,
right?
You're expecting the story to relate more to like the whole chapter in general, but like it didn't.
Right. And it's like I feel like it could have if they told it a little bit differently. Like if Scar wasn't the person that told the story and it was somebody else, and they mentioned about the black sheep, because Scar changes into a black sheep, right, during his boss fight and stuff. So it's like that could have been a really cool nod to being like, oh, that mysterious black sheep that messed everything up in this village, that was actually Scar, and then it could lead in better. But it's like, since nobody was really revealed, like I was either thinking it was going to be the magistrate or that other, that other girl that has like the one eye kind of covered and everything with the fractals.
Oh yeah, the other one.
Yeah. I thought it was going to be like possibly her too, but we didn't really get too much information about her. So
no, that's the thing. It's possible that it's her.
It is, actually. Yeah. That's what I think it is, but they should have.
They didn't say anything about it, right? They didn't like explain.
Right. They should have done it there, because it's like, to me, that whole scene was a lot of like. Have you heard of, what is it? I hope I pronounce it correctly. Shurkov's gun, I think, is the definition of it.
What?
I think it's like Shurkov's gun.
Oh no, actually, I never heard of it.
So this is like a theater thing, where hang on, let me see if I can find it correctly. Theater gun. I don't want to say meme, but I don't know how to spell his name, but I'm pretty sure it's like Shurkov's gun, which is like pretty much in like when they were doing theater and stuff. The rule was if you had something on, like, it starts with a C. Okay, thank you, Era. I was spelling that incorrectly with an S. But essentially, if you have something in a scene, it has to have meaning for it. Otherwise, you're kind of wasting the viewer's attention and everything. So the example that they give is that, say you have a scene in a living room and there's a gun mounted like above the fireplace. If you have a gun there, in the next scene, that gun needs to be fired. Otherwise, there was no reason for that gun to be there. And
otherwise,
so,
like, why show it in the first place? Right.
Right. And so, like, that was kind of the whole thing with that scene, is like, okay, this is a kind of a cool little story, but what's the payoff here? And I think that was the whole thing that kind of irked me a lot with that fetch quest, is what's the payoff? Because do you also remember with the fruit that we were told to find out about? Like, and they were like, oh, it comes from a distant land. But what really surprised me was that guy thought it was a grenade, which I thought was hilarious because it doesn't look anything like a grenade. But I thought, okay.
That's the joke that they made, right, in the game?
Right. But I thought maybe we would use it to scare somebody away. Like, maybe we'd be facing off against Scar and he has somebody kidnapped and we trick him by throwing the grenade at him, or throwing the fruit at him, and he thinks it's a grenade. So he backs off or something. Right. But it's like they never reuse that at all throughout the story. And that's where it's like, I don't know. It's like, I feel like they set a bunch of stuff up and then they just never use it. So like that was
kind of makes sense.
So it's like, it was a very cool scene because Scar was a very interesting character. Also, rip the remake to his model that they did. Did you see all the stuff about that?
I prefer the old one, honestly.
I think the old one's pretty good too.
Yeah, but the old one is unique. Like he's the only one with the actual full jumpsuit in the whole game, at least for now. But now he's not. Now his clothes is just like everyone else.
Yeah.
And I
But
don't
let's
even know
see.
why they do it anyway, because like most people probably wouldn't recognize, like wouldn't even like see it, like
Hmm. I
notice.
think from
And
what I
now that
heard,
they like, Mhm.
oh, well, from what I heard, there's a big movement going on in China right now where
Yeah, they can
uh,
change it just for the China.
I think they did though, is because
No, they
they
change it
do,
for all of us, right?
well, they did change it for all of us, but they changed it because of China.
Yeah, no, they can at least like worst
Keep.
case they could have done
Mm.
it like Genshin, where like they opt like it's a toggle or something.
Ooh, yeah, kind of like how they did with was
Well,
it
at
like
least well in
Rosaria,
In
Jean,
Genshin the
and
character is
Mona?
playable. I honestly
Hmm.
like kind of like disagree with the fact that like they use the censored version for like all the cutscenes moving
Mm.
forward from that update. Like for me, it should have been like if I use like the costume should follow what whichever character like whichever costume my character use.
Right,
So like
right.
if I use the uncensored one, then like use that.
Hmm.
Why do you bother go with the censored version? That's me though.
Hmm. Yeah, so let's see. So that was Scar's thing. And then I did think it was cool when we met up with Scar again, like when we went back into
Hmm.
that labyrinth. I did think it was very annoying though how our MC had to tell us what to do every step of the way during that little puzzle. Like
Yeah.
like we weren't able to figure it out. Like that kind of annoyed me.
I think
But
that's a way for the game to handhold because usually, for example, in
it's
Genshin, it would
no
have been Paimon's job.
no, I get that, but it's like they really didn't need to handhold that much. It wasn't a hard puzzle.
I know. I
But
know. They shouldn't
mm,
honestly.
but the thing that
Because
did
like
frustrate.
the whole game they didn't really do that much like hand holding, and then like suddenly in this part they do it a
Right,
lot.
right.
That's kind of jarring.
So I wonder if that was like part of the original story and then they just kind of kept it in or something. But I did like it was cool when Scar met up with the magistrate and everything. I just didn't like how they had this. Oh yeah, by the way, you had this secret meeting with the magistrate that we're just now showing you. It's like you couldn't have showed that before.
That one,
But
that part I think is pretty good because
yeah,
like it's kind of like a little twist to the story, and at least like it happens in the same act. That's the thing.
it does. It does. Like so, it makes
So like it
sense when
still
it
explain
happened. It's
things.
just
Yeah.
I would have preferred we just got to see it in real time, but that's more of a personal thing I think on my side.
Yeah.
And
And
then
I think that one like we agree to disagree at that
mhm.
point
Yeah, yeah.
because I think that's a
But
good artistic choice. I kind of understand it as long as like
mm,
it's like as you said earlier, like the theater related stuff, like where like
mm,
when they show something like it must have meaning. And like at least like everything that happened, like the question, and everything, it happens in the same act. Like the thing is,
it
like
does,
the
yeah.
other parts especially in the earlier part, it didn't happen in the same act, and
Mm.
that was annoying.
But I will say the next chapter I really liked, the chapter 5 or act 5 I should say. That one was very good when we found out about the retroactive rain and what was the organization like Black Lotus or Black Widow or Flower or something? I
I
forget.
I forgot the
I
name
forget
for
what
it.
they were called,
Shit.
but I really liked that group. Although Camilla confused me with her dialogue. I don't know if they really translated that wrong or what, because it was
Mhm.
like she was saying that she didn't want to be a part of, or because she like starts off saying that, oh, I wish I could be Fractus or I had the freedom to be a part of Fractus, and then near the end she's like, nah, I hate those guys. Don't ever lump me in with them. So that was a
No,
little
I
weird.
think she doesn't talk about that. I think when she talk about freedom, she wish she has more freedom in general, like and what she want to do, but because she's part of like
Group she can't.
that group, yeah, she cannot do like she cannot destroy the world because she's
Mm,
part of the group that saves the world, basically, kind of like that.
yeah, I
So like
felt
she
like
wish she has more freedom,
I
like
think they
Rover.
just did that whole scene a little weird, or at least with that part.
I think that
Otherwise, it
part
could have.
kind of tries to mimic what HSR do with Sparkle, where like she's like they want to show people
Like
that
an
like she's
interesting.
unhinged.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I did like her character. I want her. I want her whenever she becomes playable, and I hope she does.
I mean, yeah, I completely agree. I want
Mhm.
her too. But I've like the scenes has its moment.
Mhm.
I'm sure a lot of
But
people are like drooling over the scenes,
yeah, but I
but
will
like
say
they could
this.
have done some of the dialogue better. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But the stuff with Encore and Alto and about the retroactive rain, now that
Hmm.
was very good. I really liked how they talked about that and how the retroactive rain can create stuff and everything. And I don't know if you noticed, but we also spawned from water upside down right at the very beginning,
Yeah, yeah,
which
nanti
could
nanti.
be an allusion to what actually happened there. But so I thought that was very cool. I do think that they messed up a little bit though, in that when they were talking about like that experiment at the very end, that
Hmm.
monster that we had to go and fight, how they
Yep.
were like, oh, they created it by feeding it a bunch of stuff and everything,
Hmm.
and what that was all about. Because there was, if did you listen to all the NPC dialogue in there?
Yes, like about like how the monster talks about hunger and stuff. I think the monster is
Yes,
like the one inside Rover, right?
yes.
Possibly.
That's what I'm saying is that monster that I think is inside of Rover. I think that's
The
what
one
they're
they showed
alluding
toward the
to,
end.
but then Alto made it sound like the monster was actually that thing that we killed. So I felt like how they kind of talked about that made it
Hmm.
a very weird kind of misdirect or kind of setup. Oh, they do have a picture of the other girl. But overall, I did really like chapter 5 or act 5. Act 6 is where I had a lot of problems though, which I know a lot of people I've heard
Really?
really liked, but 6 I personally didn't like a lot. So,
Yeah. Well, actually, my take for like my take is somewhere between like all those people and your take, right? So
hmm,
I'd say that story improves a lot by the like especially toward the end, later of the half.
hmm,
But I wouldn't say it's as good as what people said.
hmm.
Because I just keep wondering like is this people thinking like the story is actually really good, or is this people just like, oh, the
They're
first part of
hyped.
the story is so
Hmm.
bad that now the second part of the story seems really good.
Right, right.
Like in
So,
contrast.
hmm. Yeah, so I kind of like talk about what I didn't like about the story in Act 6, and then I want to hear kind of
Hmm.
what your thoughts were on it. And if I'm
Yeah,
going a little
sure.
too crazy on.
Oh yeah, yeah,
so,
sure. Go ahead.
so first off, I really did not like how it started because ever since Act 4, we were told that when the retroactive rain fall or when the rain falls upwards, we need to go to the Northern Barrens, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we learned about that in Act 4, and then at the end of Act 5, we actually see it happening. But what does our
Mm-hmm.
character do? They don't go straight to the Northern Barrens. They, slack around and instead go to help out, the main city or whatever. Which I know,
I think they do that because they got called, though, right?
right. They did get called, and they said that they were under danger and everything. The problem was is that they didn't really show very well how bad of an outbreak it actually was, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
it just looked like a normal, everyday gameplay.
Yeah.
And so it's like
It
it
looks like a
didn't look
normal attack.
dangerous. They never
Mm-hmm.
broke into the city, right? So it's like we don't see any
Uh-huh.
buildings or anything on fire. So it's like, did we really need to stop by? Because really, the Tacit Discord would still keep on spawning until that main bad guy was gone. So us stopping
Mm-hmm.
there is really just making things worse because we need to get to the end and kill the final boss. But
Mm-hmm.
they make us stop there. And then I also didn't like how they had, is it Ling Yang and what's the other guy? The blue-haired guy, Yanhua.
I forgot.
Yeah, I didn't like how.
something.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
like how they had those two guys showing up at that point, because while it was kind of cool that they are characters, right, that we can pull from the gacha
Mhm.
and that they're there, they didn't show up at all in the story whatsoever.
I think if anything, I hate the fact that Yuan Wu and Tao Chi shows up because they weren't introduced. They just suddenly pops up. Like Ling Yang already has the character story beforehand. So
but
we
but
saw
that's
him
only if
before.
you did it though. Only if you did it.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's like
only if you did it. But at least he's somewhere there. Like Tao Chi and Yuan Wu doesn't show up at all, I think.
which Tao Chi and
Tao Chi and Yuan Wu. Like, Yuan Wu is the
but Tao
blue-haired guy that
Tao
you
Chi
talk
makes sense though because she's a defensive person. I liked how she was there and how her background matches with her character's kit which is
Yeah, okay, like her story makes sense because she's the
mhm,
captain. Like she should have met I mean, she should be there.
right, right.
Ling Yang still has some introduction. You know, he's
But it
like
doesn't make
especially if you
sense for
play.
him to be on the front lines. He's a lion dancer. Like he shouldn't be on
No,
the
no,
front lines.
it makes sense because while he's a resonator, he's not a soldier, so he's not supposed he won't be in the front line.
But he was
He's just a
there helping
resonator
out.
that happens to be lip. No, no, no. Yeah, he helps out because the city is under attack, right? So as a resonator,
But
he has to help.
no,
But like
but the
he's
city's
not.
not under attack. It's just outside the city, right? So I don't know. Like
Um.
I feel like because all throughout they keep telling us, "Oh, you guys aren't soldiers. You guys shouldn't be here on the front lines and everything," right? And then all of a sudden they're letting these guys that aren't
Not
soldiers on the.
us. They did. They never told us about that, right? No.
I
They
feel like the
like.
soldier. Like remember, like the reason why we were helping out those soldiers with like first aid and everything in like
Mhm.
Act 2 or something was because they didn't want us on the front lines. Like we were only there because we had special access, not because we were supposed to be there. I don't know.
Okay.
I guess.
So for me,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
it like the second act, like where they didn't want us to fight, it's less about like we're not able to fight, because like if you have like if you remember the first time
Mm-hmm.
when we left the city,
Yep. Yep.
one of the soldier mentioned how like our access has enough, like we have enough access to bring out a whole army out of the city, right?
Right. Right. Mm-hmm.
Did you remember that? Yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that scene, I think that part of the story is supposed to like show people that like we like the that we have so much like they revere us basically
Mm-hmm.
in a way. So that's why they didn't want us to fight. I think it's like kind of like if you have a general coming in like, to like visit like your camp, you're not gonna
Mm-hmm.
tell the general to fight. You're gonna try to like, oh, you know, you should just if you wanna help out, you can do this like little stuff, you know. We
Okay.
really do need help, but like you can do this little stuff, you know.
I guess.
we'd be fine. We'd be fine, you know.
I guess I could see that, but I still didn't like how, at least as far as the main story goes, that they didn't have any relevance at all until that point. So I just didn't like
Yuan
how
Wu,
there's.
I completely agree. He shows up out of nowhere.
He
Well, to be
does.
fair, I haven't played all the side quests, so I don't know if he shows up in one of them.
But still,
But
like, I don't care if you're in a side quest or a character story. Like, if you're not in the main story, you shouldn't be there. And especially, like, and what made me more mad is that they added those two characters in there, but they didn't do anything with Dan Jin or Kaucharo, right? So it's like, they can't even
Yeah,
say they were
well,
trying to introduce
I don't
all
know
the
about
characters.
Danjin. I don't know about Danjin, but like Calchero is a mercenary, so he might
I
not
think,
be in the city.
well, I think Dan Jin is too, but I don't know. And I get that,
So
but
like
it's.
I think that's how
Hmm.
I think this is just a different take in like storytelling. I think.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
personally
so.
that they try to show everyone else, but like for Yuan Wu, he has no reason because we never seen him at all. Like you know, it's different from like something like
Hmm.
Agasaro where like they had all the NPC already in the area, and then like they helped out in the end. That makes sense.
Right, right. And what did
But
he say
like
his.
Yuan Wu, you never seen Yuan Wu owns like a freaking gem.
Yeah, yeah. What was it? He's a gym and something else, right? Was
He
his
owns a gym and a cafe or something.
a cafe?
Of
Yeah,
sort.
yeah.
Like he owns a
I was like, that's
business,
such a
like two
weird
business.
backstory, and then you're here on the
Mhm.
battlefield.
Yeah. So the Yuan Wu
Hmm.
one is really weird.
Hmm.
I understand your opinion, but like for Ling Yang, I think like the character story kind of shows like what kind of character Ling Yang is. He's someone that likes to help out. So like when the war
It's
happened, he would willingly go out to like protect the city.
no,
So
I
that would make
agree with
sense at
that,
least.
but that only makes sense if you did the character story, and that's not required for
Yeah.
the main story. So that's where I have issues,
That's
where
fair.
it's like
That's fair. That's a fair take. At the same
Hmm.
time, at least they gave an explanation for him.
they did.
Unlike Yuan Wu.
Like,
Yuan Wu
yeah.
is freaking out of nowhere. I'm like, I don't even know you exist.
he's a cool guy. I like his character, but it's like they need to show him. So
I didn't even have him. So like when he shows up, I'm like, where the fuck you came from?
So that was what I kind of didn't like. I felt like, I don't know. I just felt like the scale. I think if they did a better scale and they actually showed how bad everything was, like like maybe if they actually broke into the city and everything, like it would have felt much better to me. But I think because of that, it just felt like we were wasting time when we were told from the beginning to go to the Northern Barrens.
Yeah,
now
we
I
kinda
will
are.
say though,
especially since they have to like remind us about it. And,
right.
And she ended up like calling us again and be like, "Hey, you guys should go now." And I'm
Right.
like,
I thought she was going to be, honestly, if it was me, I would have been more pissed off. I'm like, didn't I tell you guys to go to this place? Why aren't you there already?
No, or I would have this. I like as like if I was the story writer, I would have like written things differently. You know, I would have like made it so like as soon as the mission started, I'm gonna give you like a 10-minute like countdown. Yeah, and then you have to run there. You cannot teleport. Like
that would have been
mentioned
cool.
Since like you remember how like Alto mentioned how like the beacons are like not detecting anything. I'm gonna make it seem like all of them are broken, so you cannot teleport. You have to run there.
Ooh.
And then like that gives you a scale of like emergency and like you know.
And then
like,
along the way, there's more enemies out.
Yeah, you can see the scenes of like you know Ling Yang fighting, like that's fine. Yuan Wu and like everyone else, you're gonna meet
that would have been
like along the way. Yeah,
that would have been cool. And then I would have been okay with them. And then it would have made sense for even like the people like the mercenaries, right, to show up, because then they could just show up further away from the city. So that would have been cool. But
Kara
but
said
anyway,
something, but still, wouldn't Yuan Wu and Ling Yang case still be the same? Still as sequel tape, but not soldier, or just at any point in the story for there to be an announcement, statement, find out it's bad enough. We need help because for Ling, that makes sense. That makes sense. They're like I'm saying, they're not supposed like they don't have to fight. I don't know about Yuan Wu because Yuan Wu is never, you know, you never met him, as I said. So like I completely agree with sequel on Yuan Wu, but like Ling Yang is someone that goes around like he's like kind of like a citizen of the city. I'm sure like he heard the announcement and stuff, especially when they told like the citizens to like what's it called again? English,
to like
English
evacuate or like do
evacuate and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sure as a resonator, he would definitely offer that to help. So like like even if he's not a soldier, it would make it still at least make sense for him to be there, especially if you already did the character story. It's like you know his personality by then.
So yeah, so that part, you know, that was my grievances with that, which I think is really just how they decide to show the scale, right? Which I think we're both kind of in agreements on that. Now the next part with Jian, I really liked actually how they did like that stuff where it's like, oh yeah, this rain can affect you, and then he's trying to kind of mask how much is affecting him and everything and going over his past. That part was very cool. I did not like though once we showed up at the base and Jian is like, so, you know, I've been this leader for 3+ years and I have a bunch of military experiences.
Yeah, that's so dumb.
But can you tell me where I should be putting my soldiers and everything? And I'm like, what?
Yeah, that one is dumb. Now, this is the part where I want to say like we haven't finished the whole like story recap, so I guess like we should go in first before we go into like theories more.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll say that part was weird. And then I also thought it was I thought the laser part really pissed me off too. Cuz like like Yang Yang is being all upset about this random soldier that just died, which is kind of like, you know, we're in a time crunch here. We don't have time to be crying over this like random NPC. And then
I think they could have designed that part of the story better. For example, like they can have Yang Yang try to heal him while we defending, and like, you know,
maybe
because like she's a soldier, so it makes sense for her to care more. At least
it does, but if it was like maybe an NPC that we met along the way, like maybe one of the ones that gave us information about the task or like those trials that we did before, then maybe we already have a connection, and then I could see that being a little bit more. But, you know, with it just being a random NPC, I thought it was weird. And then I really did not like how they were like, oh, this laser is so dangerous and everything, and it's going to destroy the world. It's like setting off a nuclear bomb.
And the cutscene is so bland.
It's like this little pzzz, and that's it. And then it's like, on top of that, what really made me mad was Mortify was like, by the way, if we miss our target, then it's a big thing. I'm like, your target's huge. It's a giant shield in front of you. How the heck would you miss that target? So I was just like, I didn't like how they were setting that up. And then, did you notice how once we were actually exploring that world and everything, they're just like, oh yeah, you know that dangerous laser that's supposed to be really strong? We're going to fire it at you to destroy the debris and everything. And I'm like, hold up, wasn't this thing supposed to be super powerful and dangerous, and now we're just firing it willy-nilly? Like,
yeah. They can,
so that was
lower
weird.
the output, but you still have to find somewhere to like hit from it. And like all that happened is like the ceiling fell off, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, and then I didn't like how Yang Yang was like trying to sacrifice herself and everything. It's like, and they tried to make it this huge drawn out deal, which
with the Jansen and like Yang Yang.
And I feel like it's mainly because like I feel like the developers probably really like her character, but they didn't give her enough time or really development for the player to fall in love with her. But I will say, after that though, when it's us and Jian going off and facing off against the enemy, that part was really cool, and that was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, that part is still that part is definitely great. I can see why people liked it. Like if they just focus on that part.
But it's
100%.
like, but yeah, it's like that's only a small section though, and then we get the little Paimon thing at the end, which is theory crafting time. So
oh god, hope it's not Paimon 2.0, please.
I don't think so. Like,
no,
actually, I guess since we've kind of more or less gone over all the story, right? Because after we defeat the big bad, we unlock our dark evil Sephiroth mode, and then save the world until next patch.
Yep.
But it's like, but yeah, like I guess the main thing to theory about is like what exactly the goddess is, right? That resurrected us in the.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of stories still not being told. Like our past, who we are, because like they seems to like trying to like make it seem like we're the old hero.
Yeah, because that was the thing. Because they
here during the build, like during the rise of Jinzhou.
Because like we found out that the researchers created the god, right, with the retroactive rain, and she was somebody from an ancient civilization. But I don't think they created us, right? I think it's probably the goddess that created us, or who they're calling to be a goddess.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think the goddess is like what they're trying to copy, possibly. Because like what they ended up making is the freaking lamb, but like in actuality, what they were trying to do was to recreate the goddess. I think. Really,
I thought they did create her because they showed her in the hologram, right? With the old guy talking and be like, "Oh, if I had just."
No, I don't think they did because they failed, right?
I don't know. I think they failed when it came to the hunger
didn't say
thing.
They didn't. No, because like if it were like about the hunger thing, then like it wouldn't ended up being like the freaking lamb that we got like in the end, right?
Well, that's what I mean. It's like I think the lamb was the failure, but I think they did succeed in creating the goddess.
No, I also disagree there. I think like the goddess is like what they're striving for. Like personally, that's what I think. Because like they were.
But then how did she show up though?
Well, here's the thing. They mentioned in the part of the story where like they were trying to recreate the old race that used to live in like the freaking like the area. What is it called? Whining Exmire.
Right.
And like I think that the goddess that shows up is like one of those like the people from those race, and that's what they're trying to recreate. So like, you know, maybe they met her, or maybe they saw her corpse, or maybe I don't know. It's kind of like one of those like the mummy shit where they're like, you know, this thing seems powerful. Let's try to like recreate it or like reincarnate it, you know. And they failed, and they ended up with this little white lamb thingy that has that, you know, that always hungry.
Yeah, I don't.
That's my theory, though.
Yeah, I feel like the lamb was their initial thing, and then he said that he was distracted, right? And then I think at the very end, they created the goddess. But I think we'll need more clarification from the story, right, to really know. But the one thing that I do want to mention with the little thing was, or the little Paimon thing that's in us. Like, do you remember when Scar was talking with us and he was mentioning how at the end of the day, we would end up joining with Fractus because we're more like them or something like that. And I think he was talking about that thing because Fractus works with fusing humans and tacit discords and everything. And that is a tacit discord that's inside of us. So I believe that research was funded by Fractus, right? Is what they were saying.
Yeah.
So it's like, I feel like they knew about it.
The court was, yeah. So they knew about the thing existing. I don't know if they knew the thing was inside us. I mean, there's a lot of the story that's still not been told yet.
Right. But I feel like that's why Fractus wants us, and they knew that we would maybe end up joining them because of that. And people might think we're weird or bad because of it.
Possibly. We'll have to see in chapter 2. Also,
Yes,
Kara said, Gian X female rover power couple, my dream.
Yes.
We fight for our life together and then have a cozy date, and then he gave her his seat.
Oh yeah. Over
there.
at the that was interesting. I will say I really liked the photo that they gave with us and him.
More
in
like
the whole
pom-pom.
group.
Okay,
Yeah.
I can see that happening. I can see that happening.
But I don't know.
like,
I think he's just
since we
overall
did
very like he's just a nice guy. I don't know if the two of them will get together, but we'll see.
That's fair. So here's my take on the whole story in general.
Sure.
I think I could be the writer of the game. First of all, just kidding.
Like honestly, I was thinking the same thing. It's like, and that's always a bad
I think
thing
we could do
when
a
it's
better
like,
story. Yeah, the story is pretty disjointed all over the place. I
feel
think
like-
what happened is that they're lacking in both budget and time, especially since I heard about the news about how they ended up like trying to remake 80% of the story, and I think this is the result of it. Is that they ran out of money, possibly like.
I don't think they ran out of money.
Game.
I think the problem is that they decided to rewrite 90% of the story, but they still kept the same staff that wrote the bad story to begin with. So it's like you're not going to get a better story if you're not getting new writers or anything, right? So.
But it's also possible. It's definitely a time pressure. First of all, because like I don't think they moved out the release date. Also, possibly, they might have like not changed the writer because they lack in budget too. Because like
True.
As we've known, like I like judging by like how the game seems so far, like the gameplay is really polished, but it's clear that like they dedicated like the majority of their funds on the gameplay because it's really smooth. It seems like really well tested and everything, but everything else falls apart.
That's true.
At least early on, and like even now, despite their fixes, it doesn't really fix the storyline and everything. And
I also felt like I felt like they tried to make the main character a lot like Kirito, which I think started to annoy me a little bit. Where like they were just too good at everything, right? They just happened to notice all the little stuff, and they just happened to be really good at everything they did, and everyone always had to praise them. And it's like I thought that was kind of annoying, but
yeah. So this is the part where I want to say the complaint. I think the writer, I don't know where they hired this guy. Like, no offense to them, but I think this person probably have written like some Chinese manhwa that I've read before. Or something, because all the story that I've read so far, it really feels like I'm reading a Chinese, like quote unquote trashy Chinese manhwa, one of those cultivation stuff where like the MC was super OP, knows everything, that did everything, and then like super powered.
Even though they have amnesia, they still are able to.
Yeah, and they're still able to do everything, and then like it seems everything seems too convenient. It has a lot of like the generic trope of like. Superpower MC with a harem on their back and like trying to like save the world and super goody two shoes. I think like somehow the story seems similar with Genshin in a way that like the character is very much aligned on the good side. Like you don't even get the choice to like be bad.
You can just be a little bit of a jerk in some cases, but that's it.
You can be a bit of a jerk, but you really cannot say no. At least like in something like Honkai Star Rail, they meme about it, where like in the game there's a couple.
You could be a
dialogue where they can there are a couple dialogue where they were like the option is like no, or like I cannot say no, aren't I?
Oh right, yeah.
Or like the yet and like the yes, 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 and like where's the no button? So like at least they're kind of self-aware on the HSR.
Hmm.
And in a way, in HSR, the group that like takes you in is like the good guys, so it makes sense. But like on this game, you didn't really join the group, you know. It's kind of like you're supposed to be in the middle, like in the middle of like
Right,
two
right.
options between like joining the Fraxidus and like the other like the city. But like you decided to
Hmm.
join the city. So yeah, the story seems really like in a way safe. Not as safe as Genshin, but like I can see it them like taking some inspiration from it,
Hmm.
which is kind of bad because like honestly, I personally think HSR probably has better story than Genshin.
Oh, HSR is a great story. Like I think I
Yeah, they
probably
should have
mentioned this
copied
last
like
time,
HSR more.
but it's like I really loved Wout in the last story. Like I thought he was great, but we'll see. I feel like the devs are very good at hearing feedback, and there's been a lot of complaints about it, so we'll see what they end up changing.
I mean, they already had talk about like might be replacing the voice acting director because like clearly they're doing a bad bad job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Funny things though in Genshin that we ended up looking at the bad guys for fun, like stealing the lyre or like standing trial in Fontaine. Yeah, we ended up doing it, but I think like a lot of the bad stuff that we did in Genshin is like kind of like a funny haha little kid show
right,
kind of
right.
bad things. Like we're kind of like bad guys in like a like a Mickey Mouse
Comedic
movie
sense.
or
Yeah,
something.
like a Saturday
Yeah,
morning
comedic
cartoon or
sense.
something.
Yeah. And like in this game, you're kind of like a bad guy in like also like a cartoon, but like a much more mature cartoon. You know, maybe instead of like the usual SpongeBob show bad guys, you become like someone like a bad guy from like I don't know, Ben 10 or like Danny Phantom. You know, you're bad, but like you're somewhat bad, not as bad as like an actual show. Like compared to like someone in like HSR, for example, someone like Sunday. Sunday's like way of like writing. Like him being bad on like it, that feels like they took some notes from like Thanos, like an actual movie bad guy with proper motive,
Right,
proper
right.
background story,
And you
explain
had time
everything.
to understand it too, like.
And like the
Maybe-
fight is actually properly cool and stuff.
Maybe that was the thing that also made me a little bit mad too about like that end story where they're hyping up this Discord, like this tacit Discord at the end that's supposed to be like, or what do they call it, like Overthrash and everything. It's this Discord of war and weapons and all this stuff, and then we get this skinny girl as the weapon. As I'm like, that's not what I was expecting it to be. I thought it would be this huge like buff like guy at the very end, right? But nope.
That makes sense. Yeah, the game needs a lot of work in the story department. But I think that's not why most people enjoyed playing this game, though.
Yeah, definitely. And I heard that PGR did get better later on, but so maybe like they can hopefully get there a little bit quicker. But yeah, the story was definitely a downside, I think.
And I think honestly it's too short, personally.
Oh yeah, they definitely sped on some of it.
Yeah, combined amount of hours is like
And
I think this is
like
one of those cases, that like with the time problem, I think they ended up like shortening a lot of things while fixing it, and it's causing all these pacing issues that we're seeing right now.
I felt like they also could have maybe done the beginning part a little bit better, like at least like with it. How should I put it? Like with how because I felt like it took forever for us to actually get into real combat with the story. And I felt like they could have done that a lot better earlier on, and then go into all the
and they break the combats into a lot of parts too, because like it's like especially toward like in the end part of the story, you had this fight, and then you had to like run around the map trying to climb up, and then like you had this talk, and then you had to fight again. Like they break it up too much. It's kind of like breaking the pacing of like the combat, the action.
Yeah, it's like what I thought would have been really cool is if they used like Calcharo for that part, like the tutorial session. Like instead of Yang and everyone finding us, it's like Calcharo finds us, and he's just like, "Who are you?" or everything, and he's just like, "I don't know. I don't have any memories." And he's just like, "Fine." He gives you a sword, and he's just like, "If you know how to fight, then you'll be fine without your memories." Or, And then he's like, he just teaches us basic combat, and then at the end he just knocks us out. Like it's one of those things where it's like, you know, like how in JRPGs you always have those fights that's like you're not supposed to win this fight, but you still have to go through and do it anyway. Like have him be that person that you have to try to fight, and then you just lose. Or you could beat him and get a different cutscene, but it'll still knock you out anyway.
Yeah, or you can do it like Sekiro or like some other games where like if you're fighting them, you can, you know, if you win. Or like even Devil May Cry, you know, if you actually beat the first guy that you're not supposed to beat, the story just ends. Like, oh hey, like it's kind of like in HSR, like right, like easiest example, like Devil May Cry maybe a bit too much, you know, because like it's a game with different budgets and everything. So different way of telling story, but like, you know, HSR, and they gave you the option. You can join the Astral Express or not. And if you didn't join it, yeah, the game just ends. you just get the credit scene, and then the game ends.
Oh really?
Do we know anything about Calcharo and like how it's involved with anything? No, I don't think I've seen it.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen anything at all.
Dungeon and Yuanwu at all, other than the main story, and Taochi actually.
Yes.
But Taochi still makes sense.
Well, Taochi we did see in the story, and they explained what she does, and.
Well, yeah, in the later part of the story, Yuanwu also shows up. Technically, he didn't say anything.
No,
he just shows up with
his part was weird, yeah. Because like, by the way, I'm here helping you, and I run a gym and cafe. Okay. Weird for you to be here.
It would have made more sense if there's like an epilogue, like in, for example, like in Genshin. Like you had this fight with like child and everything, like, and then like you ended up fighting the big typhoon guy, the deity. Right. And then after that, like, oh, you know, you had all this like character, like extra character story, because like, you know how like they gave us like GN character story after the story. They could have done that to Yuanwu too, honestly.
They could have, yeah.
They could have been like, yeah, you know, I'll show you, like, you know, we can show the players why like Yuanwu ended up joining. You know, maybe he was an ex-military, and that's why he felt compelled when like they were attacked and stuff like that. Because that happens, right? Veterans that like rejoins the battle when like the city needs it. You know, it can make sense that way, but they didn't.
Or honestly, since he runs a gym, maybe he should have been the one that taught us combat or basic self-control, right?
Yeah, that could work too. Anything would work, honestly.
Right.
But clearly, again, I think this is like a time constraint kind of thing, possibly. Because like there's a lot of parts of the game that seems rush.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how they do the next, because I felt like the character stories overall were relatively good. I do feel like Yang Yang's at the end lasted a little bit, like he was just yapping, I think a little bit too much at the end of his. But Jian's was very good. And so I'm hoping that who's the, how do you pronounce the next girl that'll be coming out?
Next girl, Yinlin?
Yeah. Yinlin. Like I hope her story is supposed to be pretty good, because I think we're getting, in fact, I think you can even see it in the gallery as a optional thing. Yeah, companion story. So I hope her story goes well.
So Kara mentioned about the possibility of Calcharo being like with the Fraxidus. I don't think he is.
I think he's a mercenary.
There's a possible, like, I think like if in terms of like background story, what, like, this is my theory, but like he might have been an ex-Fraxidus, but like he left and became a mercenary.
Yeah, because like
I think it was understandable. Like most people wouldn't accept someone that is like from that, you know, with his background. So like he ended up just becoming a mercenary. He seems like he would have the personality to do that.
Oh, interesting. So
and it would make sense since like Kara mentioned about like how his ultimate is basically like a tacit discord, right? It's like a double clone of
I see what you're saying. So him fusing. Okay.
So that's why my theory was like that would explain like how he has like a tacit discord like as his like power.
It's interesting how Dan Jin has an affiliation with the Jianzhou or Zhou, but then if you go to Calcharo, his is actually like, it's called the Ghost Hounds. So it's weird how she never shows up in the story, but then he does.
He does in the story?
Or no, he doesn't. He doesn't. Sorry. But it's like, so both of them don't show up, but she has an affiliation with the city, so she should have been there. Right? I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, well, according to the basic information that I'm looking right now, she's basically likes to like journeys
She
to
likes to
distant
travel. Yeah,
lands.
yeah.
So there's possibility she's just not there. And like maybe like the way to explain her return, like one day like she's gonna return and be like, oh my god, what happened and stuff like that. You know, that would make sense in a way.
Hmm.
I wouldn't say it's the best way to storytell, but they can still save that.
Also, they keep mentioning the stuff about overclocking with resonators, but we've never seen that yet. And I wonder how that's going to be. Right, because they keep saying like overclocking is, I guess, when they use their abilities too much or like their powers just get out of control.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what happened to Kalcharo. Maybe it's not so much that he's with the Fractus, but maybe he's just an overclocked like resonator, and that's why that happens.
I thought overclock resonator turns into tacit discord.
They haven't explained, yeah. Like that could be. You could be completely right on that, but they haven't explained what it is though.
Gacha games usually have characters that we've at least met in the story on banners. And in the character even banner usually, yeah.
It kind of depends. Some gacha
like
games can
it's
go.
like it's character that like you've met or about to meet usually.
Usually, but not always. Like
yeah. Just like
although I do think the good ones are
Robin
much
died.
better when you do actually meet them. Does HSR have any that we haven't met? I think we've met all the ones, all the characters that we've gotten, right?
No. But like when the banner shows up, like Robin banner was leaked, you know.
Oh yeah.
She was
same
dead,
thing with Firefly,
like, here's
right?
her banner. She's coming. Yeah, same thing with Firefly. Oh, she's dead, but here's her banner coming soon.
And here's Sam in the background. I wonder what that means. Like,
yeah, right.
Hmm.
So you know, it doesn't indicate, you know, it indicates like the character is in the game world, and some way along the line you'll meet them. You like, and like the thing is with Kalcharo is that he's a standard banner. Standard banner usually, you know, it's always there since the beginning. So like, they should have put the story that is related to him in this. I'm not gonna lie. So I understand like what Karo is trying to go for.
Yeah. I do think. I do like though. How should I put it? I hope that they don't go down the route where it's like, you know, like how Genshin, like we don't get any bad guys. They have to be like some kind of good guy in order to join us as a playable character. Because like even with the child, they had to redeem him in a certain way to make him like actually playable.
I don't think Child was bad since the beginning. He's just
but
like
he should have been.
Like,
he's part of the bad guys. I feel like he's much cooler as a fight maniac than he is like a good guy. But
you know, here's what you don't get. You know, good guys fights more because they gotta defend the weak. That's why he joined us. You know, that's my headcanon at least. Just look at us. We're the good guys. We keep fighting every time, and like soldiers doesn't do anything. You know, it's always us that has to fight. So clearly, you know, Child knows what's going on. Be like, oh my god, you guys fight a lot more.
Oh yeah, that's true. Like Jade and Diamond kind of, like Jade's gonna be really cool to get in Honkai Star Rail next patch. So yeah. Anyway, I'm saying that because I really want some of the Fractus, right? I think, you know, I want Scar for sure. You know, the little girl, especially if you know that,
and Jinsei.
Yeah, the girl with the eye, like if she's able to summon Tacit Discord as her combat thing, that would be very cool. Or like she can mind control the enemies on the field.
Oh yeah, so like about that girl, the theory is that like first of all, like the girl is possibly the Black Lamb mentioned in the story, right? And second of all, I think that like in the story about the Black Lamb, the girl was mentioned to like able to like protect the village.
Right, and control like discords or something, right?
Yeah, so I think that's what's happening in the like that's how like she managed to summon it. She can control it. She can control the frequencies somehow. And that's how she protects the village before. And I think like her like Scar's question kind of makes her doubt herself and her village. So that's why she couldn't, like, she ended up like not being able to defend it. And that's how it, like the whole story spurs down. That's like, I think that's my theory on like how to explain like the relationship with like about like the Black Lamb in the story. about like how like she ended up getting like getting kicked out of the village, or quote unquote killed. Because like if you've seen like the girl herself, like she lost one, like she was bandaged all over, right? So like it's
Right,
possible that like she
the village
she
did that to
almost
her.
died. Yeah, and she almost died, and like that's when Scar came back to save her,
Hmm.
and that's how she ended up
They
joining
just
him
need to
now.
do. They just need to have
They
her
just need to
call,
explain it.
or just have him like joke around and just say like a line of like, "Is that how you treat your big brother?" or something like that. And she just looks at him like whatever. Like if they just have that
they
one
could
of
have
those
made
lines
that,
like
yeah.
that. Also,
They could have teased him.
I will say I do think it's a little funny that they didn't like on her 3D model. I think they messed up with her eye that's blindfolded, because you could still see the
Mhm.
eyelash poking through the bandages. I'm like, you
Oh.
didn't do that very well. You should have hid that much better. But but
Could
I
have
thought that was
not
kind of
put
funny from
anything
a
in under
technical.
there.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Although
it's another
maybe
technical
they're
issue that they
hinting
need to
at that.
fix.
Maybe they're hinting at that eye has like some kind of secret power in it.
No, but like they could have made two models, and one of them is like the one with the bandage, and the other one is like the bandageless one.
Or just hide the eyebrow, like the eyelashes.
Yeah, they could have did that too.
Hmm. But yeah, we'll see. Like, maybe she's like a Kakashi and everything.
John cares for his family and siblings. Summoning an army would be OP. They don't make
Yeah,
the
so-
story bad.
So let's see. We had some predictions there. Do you think we have enough to figure out who our next banners and stuff are going to be, or? Well, I guess we do know because
There
the
was a
upcoming
leak about,
banner
like-
is the magistrate and child, or the red hair girl, right? I forget what her name is.
Who's the red hair girl? There's more red hair girl.
It's the orange haired one that actually came up with the task for us to solve. Let me see if I can get a picture of her. But yeah, do you have any ideas on Oh, I forgot to send out a tweet too going.
I think the magistrate will make sense. I don't know about the other one, because like I don't know. I haven't seen that much character so far being shown.
Mm-hmm.
Like Camellia is new, definitely. The two girl from the Fraxidus. Actually, there's three people from the Fraxidus, right? The girl with the pretty eyes that Scar met, and then like the girl with the bandages and stuff. I don't know if like those those two
The girl
girls are
with
like
the
different
pretty eyes?
person or like the same.
Who's
Because like in
pretty
the
eyes?
when, because I think when Scar was like the one that picked up Scar, I think the
Mhm.
one that picked up Scar doesn't have any bandages on her, right?
Picked
I
up
think she had
Scar.
both eyes
What do you
intact.
mean? Like at what point in the story?
When we met Scar for the first time, and then like she ended up coming, and like Scar was like, once you ruin my, like, I'm talking with the MC right now.
Oh.
And then the girl came up to him and be like, like, are you trying to like relax? I'm not gonna ruin your plan and stuff like that. Scar told her that, right?
Relax, we're not gonna. That's no. Was that not Shinhan that saved us?
Who?
No, that wasn't a
Sanhua-
Fractus. Wasn't that?
No, Sanhua
Sanhua?
is there to like watch over us, but she didn't.
Oh right, she didn't show up
until
at
the
that
end.
point. Yeah.
Yeah, she hasn't shown up. Like the
I
one
need to
that
go.
stopped
I need to
Scar
go
was like
rewatch that. I don't know
his
if I
friend.
remember. Yeah. Yeah. Let me pull up the VOD of that because I think I did the Scar stuff on stream.
No,
But you're right,
I'm not
yeah,
talking
yeah.
about Camellia and
Yeah. Yeah.
Carol. Have we met Sam? We met her a lot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of times.
We did.
What
We
do you
did.
mean?
Because she was with the magistrate and then she was stalking us pretty much all throughout the story.
Yeah, she was protecting us the whole time.
Oh, she was stalking.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, kind of stalking too.
But yeah, like, yeah, I want to try to pull that up and see.
Yeah, never mind. She has bandages, so this is the same person.
Okay,
probably.
okay. That's what I thought. Like, but that
Okay.
would have been cool if it was somebody else.
Because like they also meant, because like the thing is, I at first I thought there's three person is because they mentioned how like there's another overseer, right?
That's what I wanted to
in the
talk to you
city?
about. The shepherd, right? We never found out anything about him, and it made it seem like he was like, because he was the one that was actually doing the experiments in the village, right? And it's like, is he a member of Fractus? Was he like, is he alive? Is he dead? Like, I don't know.
Who knows? There's a lot. The story is like I said earlier. The story is really disjointed.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of hard to dissect because like there's a lot of things that they could have improved.
Yes,
And
yes.
like that, some of the things that I don't understand their way of thinking and like why they ended up like telling the story this way.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, I think the whole team is like really like, I don't know if you read a lot of Chinese manhwa, but like it's really generic in the Chinese manhwa.
I haven't read
like,
a lot
culture.
of Chinese manhwa. I've read a couple of the Korean ones, but not.
Here's what I talked with my friend last time. Like my own friend, like offline. I talked with my friends, and then like, I was like, "This is like a typical Chinese manhwa trope where like you had this superpower guy, he's OP, and like he's not necessarily like evil or good. Like usually he's like pretty neutral. And then like somewhere along the line, like I think like he ended up mostly doing good stuff, or like either like they're either really good or like rarely really bad. Like a lot of the Chinese story is like the MC usually are good guys.
Right.
Like they can be pretty like human, like they can be pretty realistic, like as in like, you know, they're not doing this for free and stuff like that, but they're most like in general they're pretty good. But I think the story that they tend to emphasize in like Chinese story is like respecting parents and military stuff.
Respect. Okay.
Like so, like
that sounds
so,
very
like, for example,
Asian. Like,
yeah. So for example, like if we're talking about like filial piety, like respecting your parents, is that like if the main character is like this like cultivation god, and like they had like they came back to like their past life, you know, they returned to the past, like they're gonna try to like cherish their parents and stuff like that, and they just try to protect them and stuff like that. And you know, typical story happens all the time, right? That's like one of the themes that usually happens. And like for the military one is that like no matter how powerful the character is, what ends up happening is that like at some point there's gonna be like this general or like this like high level person from the city that comes to meet them. No, not necessarily better. Like they're gonna come to them and they're gonna be like, hey, you look like you're powerful, like, you know, our nation could like use your power to like protect the country, and like, you know, you can serve the country and like protect us from like foreign invader and stuff like that. And they're gonna be like, hell yeah. And they always agree. That's the thing, they always agree. They would like reject like some millionaire, like, you know, some private businessman coming to like offer them like money and stuff like that. But like when the military people, like the government people comes, they're gonna be like, oh hell yeah, yes. They never reject it. That's always happens in like Chinese manhwa. And like they ended up like going to the war, and then like saving the war, and then like protecting the city, and then they're gonna get like all this prestigious like achievement and stuff like that, and people are gonna revere them in the city when they come back, and they're gonna be called savior and stuff like that. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
Because like that's exactly what happened in this game, right? Like how like you were just this nobody, and then when you came in, suddenly like the magistrate like kind of like respects you, so like they try to like entice you, like, you know, I'm not gonna force you to like help us, but like, you know, I would appreciate it if you do. And then like we ended up like helping them win the war.
Although the dragon is still kidnapped, right?
Yeah, the dragon, like Jue is still kidnapped.
Yeah. So that's
the story.
That's gonna be an interesting story. I wonder if that's what the next chapter is gonna be about, is us rescuing him and potentially a fight, right, between him and what, the girl? Because that's who the new characters are going to be, right? The magistrate and wait, I was looking for that other. That's right. I was trying to get you that other girl that they showed, or that they teased. But yeah. So that could be what the next story is going to be about.
I see.
Do you have any thoughts on what it could be, or?
No, Jinzi would make sense. They showed it up already. It's kind of like in Genshin, where like after the story about Lie, you know, the next banner is gonna be freaking Zhongli. And now everyone knows that like he's actually alive and well. and he's a freaking Archon. Oh my
Mm.
god, who
Keep
would
your
have thought?
fangs sharp.
Yeah, he looks so good too. Oh, there you go. I'm sending
Oh,
you. Yeah, Cheng Li.
Jangly?
Yeah, she's gonna be the other girl that we get in the next match.
Oh, she's the one that talks with like
The magistrate.
Kinsey
Yeah.
before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. Somewhat makes sense. Yeah, that would makes perfect sense actually. They teased them up already like in the chapter was it 4? 4. Yeah.
Yep. And I think they showed them in the trailer too, for Wuthering Waves, like that announcement, or I guess not so much trailer, but like that announcement movie. Like they showed her playing chess with Zhang Li. So
So,
they're
yeah,
prepared.
that would make sense. Mm-hmm. At least they know what they're going, but like they definitely need some help
Mm-hmm.
with the story writings. You know,
Yeah.
they should hire us. They'd be like, hey, we should develop this story for you.
I know. I feel like I can, when it comes to like story, it's like I can give you an overall path, but like the dialogue and stuff in between, I feel like I'm not very good at.
That's where I come in. That's why we both should work there. Give
So
us a
they should
job,
just hire
Kuro.
both of us then. Is the
Give us the job, Kuro. We can do this.
right.
I mean, we're literally piecing out theories like from like what
The
hell of a
script.
mess that you guys like had
Mm.
written so far. It's like,
And if you want to
like
rewrite the story again, we can
foundation-
rewrite it for you.
Yeah, because like the foundation seems really solid. Like that's
Mhm.
how it is also in Chinese manhwa. It's like they got this solid like foundation. It's just they usually either use a lot of text to explain it, like a
Yeah,
whole
yeah.
paragraphs
Mhm.
to explain it, or they do this generic tropes, about like how like the young master got beaten up, so like let's send someone older, someone stronger to beat them up. I feel like that's a common thing.
Mm.
You kill the younger one, the older one comes in. The dad comes in to like avenge the son. The dad dies, so the grandpa comes in to like avenge the dad. And then the grandpa died, so they called upon like the patriarch of like the sect, to help out. And like now it's like great grandpa, and like what the fuck? The family never ends.
Interesting. That'll be.
Yeah, I hope they don't go that route. That would be so
Mm-hmm.
bad, like so bad. Like people always meme about like how Chinese manhwa are always like that. And like I don't know, the story so far seems to be pointing out like they're copying some of like the bad trends that is going out there. The story, at least they could have improved it a lot more. Gameplay, on the other hand, saving grace of this game.
Oh,
not
definitely,
gonna
definitely.
lie. Like almost 10 out
gameplay-
of 10. If it weren't for the bugs, it
Mhm.
would have been 10 out of 10.
We also didn't talk about the gacha system, but it's a relatively like good like system that they have in place with the how much it costs for everything and how the weapon banner is like guaranteed. So
Mhm.
that seems pretty nice. Like I do think that they still have the really expensive gacha costs and everything, but I'm
price
still
is the
waiting for
same.
the gacha game that is actually reasonably priced, right? And not like
Mhm.
$20 just to do a 10 pull. Actually, it's like $30, isn't it?
Yeah, the price is the same. It's just they're much more generous, and like the
Mm.
the pity system is lower. I think they also took some things away from us. So for example, if you go to the store,
Mm-hmm.
there's if you remember, there's the item exchange. Oh, mine is not even there anymore. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
yeah.
paid for it.
Mm-hmm.
But like the exchange system for like the free pulls,
Yep.
it's basically like instead of like in Genshin, it's 5 every month, right?
There's a 6, right? Every patch cycle.
Yeah, it's
Or, like-
6, but it's every patch cycle, which is 6 weeks.
Hmm.
So it's gonna end up less overall.
Yeah, I'll have to wait and see how that.
Six pulls are like 1.5 month basically,
Gotcha. Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
1.5 months. So like that's like what 8 times 6. 8 times 6 is like what? 48. Yeah, 48.
Yeah. 48.
So 48 in total. Like meanwhile in Genshin you get 5 every month. So like 5 times 12. That's like 60.
Okay,
So you
okay.
get more in Genshin, like in terms of free pulls. At the same time, however, like
The
when you pull
company's a
in,
lot more.
in yeah, but like that's one of the side like that's one of the things that like they take from us in a way, like they made worse. But like
Hmm.
for the most part, they made the stuff better. For example, the pity is like 80 instead of like 90, so like that saves us
Hmm.
at least 10 pulls, assuming assuming you get to hard pity.
Right, right.
And
Also,
then there's a lot of like the beginner banner, the novice banner, and stuff like that. It gives you plenty of like
yes,
early
yes.
5-star characters to help with the
Hmm.
game. There's also the apology with like the free 5-star character selector. Genshin could never.
Yes. I will say I do find it funny in the store. Did you notice that they have this "please spend responsibly" down there, which is
Oh
like
yeah.
it makes me laugh because it's kind of like how alcohol companies are like, yeah, we're showing you this really dangerous thing in alcohol, but drink responsibly. Like it's like yeah, no,
Yeah, I think no, actually every game does that. I think Genshin and like Honkai Star Rail does have that too. It's just
do
way
they?
smaller and like way
Okay,
less noticeable. The fact that you didn't notice it, says it all.
yeah, no, I
It's
never noticed
there.
it on those. Like,
It's there. It's like I've seen it. I remember seeing it. It's just I don't remember where because like it's just that bad. At least this game tried to like shows everything much more
true, true.
honestly. And
Mm-hmm.
like if you check in the store the prices of the stuff, so the price of the stuff like in Genshin, it's gonna be like 5,000 something plus couple hundred, and then like the extra double bonus for the first swipe and everything, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in here they just give you like, yeah, if you swipe this much, you're gonna get this much.
Oh,
First
is it
time buy
always
gets
a
double.
bonus?
So
Oh,
in Genshin, there's two bonus. So like it's like the 6,000 plus something
oh no! It says only get the
bonus.
double amount for your first time. Okay, never mind. I was gonna say I thought that maybe they would give us the double for the forever, which they should, because I hate how 99. If you were to just do this, guess how much is 99? That's like 6480 divided by 160. It's only like 40 pulls. Like that's so bad.
No, 6,000 is like no $100 is 50 pulls. And also I think I was
Not
wrong.
if
I
the
think Genshin does the same thing. Actually,
oh
let me
maybe
see.
if they give you a little bit bonus, but still it's like I feel like if you're spending $100, you should be guaranteed the character. Like I don't know, it's way too much. But we're gonna have to
Wait,
have
is
a
6,000 really 40 pulls? Wait. Sure.
nah.
Oh yeah,
It's
it's
only
40
40,
pulls.
but there may
Oh
be
yeah,
some more
goddamn it.
bonuses and stuff.
No, I think you're right. I think it's just 40 pulls. I don't remember getting other bonus other than like if you're I know other than like if you're get the first time bonus.
Hmm.
I think the price could be better.
Hmm.
I don't. Yeah, well, I guess like they copied Genshin's prices just so like it's much more simpler to
Right.
do.
Right.
They copied a lot of things from Genshin, Star Rail, and like other games.
Which is good.
A
Like I
lot of this
mean,
thing, yeah, a lot of things that they copy are really are pretty good. They
hmm.
improve upon it. Some of the things that they copy is really bad. Mainly UI, really bad.
I don't know. I think the UI is fine. Like
Have you
I
tried
do.
upgrading stuff?
Okay. Well, that was one thing. Is like I do wish that they would add like the synthesis and some of the other stuff.
Yeah,
Like I
like
wish
the
they
one
would
in the
do what they
Star
did in
Rail where you
Star
can
Rail.
just
Yeah.
synthesis everything. Yeah.
Hmm.
And then like when you upgrade stuff, like I'm gonna show people here on stream, but like you probably would understand it immediately if you're in game. If you're trying to upgrade stuff, and then you click upgrade,
Hmm.
and then you try to like let me see level 1. Okay, this one. And then when you pick the material, they're gonna show you all of the things you have in the inventory, including the
Oh
one that
yeah,
you have
yeah, yeah.
locked.
Hmm.
So like when you click the one that is like locked, like you're like, oh, item lock, and unlock to continue, and I'm like, you could have just like marked it, like when you showed it up, you could have just like not show it at all. Or if you showed it up, you can have like a big lock like icon in front of the item, so like I'll know immediately. And
Right.
that
Right.
also applies to like the the echoes upgrade. That one is bad too, because like when you want to upgrade your echoes, they're gonna show you all the materials.
Hmm.
Like let's see.
But they only show you the
Include, like,
ones that
and
have actually been leveled. Like, so, like,
yeah,
when it
because like
comes to echoes,
that's the only one. Yeah, that's the
right,
only
right,
one that
right.
can use to as a material,
Mhm.
right? But like if you have those echoes locked, it's gonna say the same thing. You're
Oh,
gonna
they
try
still
to
show
click
up.
the thing,
Okay.
and it's gonna be like, oh, this thing is locked, and I'm like, why is it here then? If it's locked, it shouldn't be here. Or like you should have like marked it or something.
Hmm.
It's like small stuff like that. Like it could
I
have done
also,
better.
I think like, while it's nice that they let you find echoes, like you can track them down. The UI for that is very bad. 'Cause it takes you to another UI, which takes you then to the map, and then if you try to exit out of it, like it takes forever to get back to the space menu. So yeah, there are some minor stuff here and there. I will
Completely
say
agree.
one thing that I do hope that they change is the amount of energy it costs for some things, because I feel like everything costs way too much to do in this game.
Yeah, I think like weekly boss can be 60. That's fine. It's a weekly. You can only do it 3 times.
Yeah,
Fine.
the weekly I'm
It
okay
can be
with,
60.
but everything
And
else
then
should be like
but like
40
everything else
and
should
20.
be like 40. Like the domain for like the weapons and stuff, like the material should be like 30.
20. Yeah, I would say like 20.
I think 30, 20, 30. It's fine. 20. I think it's a bit too much. People can hoard. 30.
That's fine. Like,
I think
honestly,
it's a
I
good
don't
middle
see an
ground.
issue with that. Like, in my personal opinion, like when you get a character, you should be able to use that character right away. So like, I hate how in like Star Rail, for instance, you get a new character and you have to spend like a week and a half of just like pure energy just getting all their traces and weapons and everything, and then that's not even including relics. So it's like you get a new
Also,
character and then you just get bummed out because you can't use them at all.
Yeah, that makes sense. But also it makes sense story wise if like the upgrade path is like in the new area. That would make sense.
Mm. Yeah,
It can make sense. It makes somewhat sense.
It does make sense, but at the same time,
It's
it's
not
also
the
like
worst thing in the world. It's inconvenient, but like it's not the worst thing in the world in my opinion.
so long as they just make it quick is all. Like you don't have to spend like forever just farming up the materials. Like you get a new character, maybe spend like a day or something grinding, and then you can use that character. That's what I feel like should happen. But
I guess that's because like that's your experience as someone that plays a lot of like gacha games. For me, like a game should have an appropriate amount of like gameplay time. So like it shouldn't be too quick either.
but
So
the
that's why I
problem
don't
is,
like
is
when
like
two things too simple. Unless like it's something like Star Rail. Star Rail is like definitely like meant for like a side game. It's not a game that you have to focus on to win. You can just auto shit.
But I feel like
not in this game or Genshin. So that's why I was like, I'm expecting more gameplay. I don't want you to make like like when I'm spending time in this game, I actually have to like hold the mouse and keyboard and play the game, right? So like,
right, but
you better
wouldn't you
make
want
my
that,
game time worth it.
But wouldn't you want that gameplay to be on like really like fulfilling things rather than you just farming up mats? Like,
yeah, fulfilling things like fighting the bosses are fun. That's the main attraction.
well,
in this
they're
game,
fun
right?
for
So, like,
now.
They should make.
But it's like I feel like the real thing that people are going to want to go and do is like the hologram stuff, right? And if people get stuck on that, like they're going to end up quitting if they don't have the option to like change characters and maybe be something that's a little bit more preferred for the fights and everything. And I don't know. I feel like
That makes sense.
how is it? Because like in Elden Ring, right? Like if you get stuck on a boss and everything, what do? You change up your strategy. You try a different weapon. You try.
No, I just bash my head against. The
Well,
boss
you
and go
can
away.
do that too, but some people will try to like change their weapon up or maybe try to go for magic or a different build. But if like in this game, the way you would do that is by getting a new character. But if it takes forever for you to level up that character, then it's like it's not really an option.
That's why I'd say like 30 is a good middle ground. Like you
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
want
yeah.
them to like be able to hoard everything and then not play the game because when the character comes up they just upgrade, like they have so much stuff left that they just don't play the game. They only come back once a month to
No,
like do the abyss or something.
Honestly, I think that's actually the preferred thing that you want your players to do, because otherwise if you force them to play the game 24/7 and grind up these little things every now and then, you're going to cause them to get burnt out. And when players get burnt out, they never come back to your game. So like if you create a game that's like good and the content's engaging enough that people want to come back every month or whenever new content's out, then that's actually a really good thing. Otherwise, you're just saying that you're scared that you can't create good enough content for your players to want to come back. But
you know, that works in something like HSR, right? That's a turn-based game. Like I said, it's a game. It's a side game, 100%. It's a game that you can play other games with while playing that game. It's not the same as something like Genshin and like this game, you know. And these two games, if you have everything stockpiled, for example, like when I played Genshin, like I just did the events and stuff. I accrued up the XP bucks and like all the materials and everything. And then like when the new character comes up in the old area, for example, like a character that is like related to the old area, so like the upgrade material is not new. I don't play the game. I just pull for the character. I upgrade the character and I turn off the game. Like that's.
But is that not a fault with Genshin though, right? Because it's like, in that point, you stop playing the game because the only new content was a character, which isn't actual content. Right? If there was actually like a new boss or some new abyss or like something else that you could actually use that character in, then you would have played the game for a little bit longer, right? And actually test out that character, see what they could do and all that other stuff. But
I mean, yeah, but in terms of business, that doesn't work. You
Well,
don't
why
want
not?
people
Like-
to only come back once a month.
I don't know. I mean, that's
You
what
want like the ideal prospect for them is for people to come back every day for 1 hour.
I don't know. You say that, but then Final Fantasy 14, which is a subscription game, is completely fine with people dropping out and only coming back.
Yeah,
in
because
for like
it's
a
a
month.
subscription game. Once you paid for a month, you cannot refund that. This is a free game, so like you don't have to pay for anything.
Yeah, but
So like you can come.
the
like,
whales
it's like
pay way more than like one person on a sub. Like
I know, but like the people can will on Final Fantasy too if they want. I agree with you. Yeah, it's better for like this is like the same like last time we talked about like the perspective that sequel take is like very player focused, which makes sense because he's a player. But like I also feel like you know, if they're too player focused, you know, most companies go bankrupt.
I don't know.
I understand that like you should be good towards your player, but you shouldn't be too good. You know, people that are like too good get used.
I feel like you always should be good towards your players because
No, you should be good. But you cannot just you gotta design the game not with just the players in mind, but also like the business aspect in mind too.
No,
Like,
I
if
feel
you
like
wanna
business should
like,
always
if-
come second. Like
It's come second, but it still has to come. For example, like if you want to just be player focused, you can just make like all the premium currency earnable from the game. You can grind it. You don't have to like charge money for it, but like in terms of business, would that make sense?
well,
Like
it depends. It depends on what your business model is.
If you
like-
want to make it better, like if you want to make it better, right? We can do what Warframe does. You can literally grind basically the primo gems.
Okay, I think I think the problem here is what you're. How should I put it? We are comparing like different genres and stuff, right, of games. So, I think in that sense, like, so like take for instance, this is a gacha game, right? So, it does make sense that you would have to spend or do something right to get that gacha, and that's fine there. But it's like, how should I put it? Like when it comes to spending stamina, right? Like that stuff shouldn't be. I don't know. There's a weird balance here, and I don't know if I would probably need to think on it a little bit more on how to get my thoughts thoroughly through here. But I feel like when you're designing a game, your first goal should not be about the business. You should be about
It
making
should
a
not
fun
be.
game. Yeah.
The first goal should not be about the business, but as a business, it should be one of the goal at the end of the day.
Well.
It's just
That's what this-
it's not the number one. It's not the number one. Number one is still customer satisfaction, which is why like Wuthering Wave is honestly like better right now because they definitely like have that in higher priority compared to like Genshin. You know, Genshin's priority of customer satisfaction is honestly pretty low ever since they started opening the game, and like people have been complaining about some stuff like the energy and stuff, and they didn't never listen until now. 4.7 coming, guys. which is so dumb because they do listen in the other games, but not Genshin. Only on Genshin, where they
it's
screw
a
you
different
in the ass.
It's a different team, and honestly, I think it's one
60
thing.
costs way too high. No, I agree. Like I said, like the bosses, the actual bosses should be like 40. Or something. Because like it's still a boss. Like the weekly can be 60. You know, you spend one day to do the weekly. You ran out of energy. So what? We're only arguing on like the material, right? Because like I said, like it should be like more like 30, and like sequel wants it to be lower.
Well, I think we kind of diverged a little bit and just started talking about like
and
business.
Then, and then we started talking, like we started expanding from there.
Because I think like when we were talking about like Genshin and stuff, right? Like, I was watching an interview with actually one of the old CEOs of Blizzard, like before they kind of turned to shit. And one of the things that he brought up there, which is one of the reasons why I think Genshin is probably in a sore spot, is that there's a lot of developers out there that just don't play video games. And I feel like possibly a lot of the reasons why Genshin has had a lot of issues is because their developers either don't play other video games or don't even play their own game. So it's
like,
bad. Right. Of course it's bad, but it's like,
and that's why I try to like point out like two other games, like for example, like you can say it's a different genre, but it's still a good inspiration, right?
Oh
you
yeah,
don't have
definitely,
to make
definitely.
The grind. You don't have to make the grind like really profitable, but you can just make it an option if people like. Cause like for a business, what's important is like first of all, obviously money, right? They want to make business from you, whether like it's from subscriptions or like if you swipe for like a character, swipe for like the premium currency, the battle pass and stuff like that. But like second of all, they want the player retention. They want player like they want to be able to show their investor. Retention? You see, because they want to be able to show the numbers.
But that's just the thing is like numbers. I don't think actually. I don't think that actually shows anything. It looks good on a graph, but I don't think that actually means anything.
That's the thing. That's like, what matters to the investor.
But who cares about them? Like I feel like when you're making a product, it should always be the product.
Like, and then we should like I don't care about them at all. You're absolutely right. But if they cannot show good numbers to the investor, the business gonna close down. And who's gonna support the game? You?
Well, the players, like when they buy the product, and
that's the thing. Like you said, in general, the gamer, like most of the players, doesn't really swipe. You know, like someone like Final Fantasy at least has another recurring avenue, like the subscription, and then you can swipe after that if you want. But if you got nothing to show to the investor, like for example, maybe on this month, the character like in the next like 2 or 3 updates, the character banner is not as good. The gameplay is good. Everyone loves the story and everything, but the character is just not as compelling. So not a lot of people actually swipe for the characters because maybe the game is too generous and like you have a lot of like primo gems now, so you don't have to swipe. And like the players are happy, but like the investor, the one that like supporting the company, will not be happy. And like there's a possibility they're gonna have to like.
I don't know, because I feel like I'll be honest, the games that I've spent the most amount of money on are the games that are the most generous and the games I feel that are actually worth that money. And I feel like most people are the same
too.
way. Like,
I do that too, but a lot of people not. Not everyone does that.
I know.
Right?
I just feel like there's something in my gut that's telling me like, if you build up that player trust and you built that strong thing, people are going to be more likely to spend more money on your game than they would if you have all these like, if you have like that business focus and everything. So
no, like I agree from a player standpoint. I agree. That's why like I spend money on like Helldivers. That's a game that doesn't even ask for your money. I just gave it to them. Okay. So like I'm saying I'm one of you guys. But also if you look at what happened to Helldivers now.
Yeah, with the PSN and then everyone hates it.
What happened is that like they're taking the side of the players and they're getting kicked in the ass by the fucking company, by the fucking investor. That's what's happening to them right now.
And I think it's because what was it? You heard the main guy is like stepping down, right? And just
Yeah,
He's
the CEO ended up having to step down
no,
because of it.
he
So
didn't have to step down. He personally stepped down because he wanted to
he
be a
stepped down,
developer.
and like yeah, he doesn't be, he's still in the company. He's just
Hmm.
becoming like an creative art director or something instead
Right,
of the
right.
CEO.
Because
He doesn't want to deal with the business anymore because like talking with like that's the thing. Talking with investor is fucking shit if you don't have the numbers, guys.
well, not the numbers.
So
I think it's more like
what
he just didn't
happened?
have.
Yeah, what happened is like in Helldivers is that like they wanted, like I think they wanted the player data because like PSN blah 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 connecting
I
your
think it was more
account.
just the guy was a gamer, like he was a developer, right? And he
No,
just didn't
the
know how
CEO
to.
is a good guy, but like the investor, the one behind him,
No,
they
no,
want more. That's why I said like numbers are important to keep those freaking greedy bastards off our fucking game.
but
Because like
I think if you had a proper guy there, though, he could have argued more like better towards that. I think it's
I
like
think he's a proper guy. I think he's just tired of like
no.
dealing with that
I think
shit.
I think he's a developer that got pushed up into a position that he probably didn't really care too much about. He just wanted to make a very good game. Is all that he really cares about, right? I'm not saying that was a bad CEO or anything, but
No,
he
I'm not
just
saying
wanted
he's a
to make
bad
a good
CEO
game.
either.
Yeah.
I'm just saying like he got tired of it, right? Like yeah, because
Right,
of the
right.
pressure from the investors. That's what I'm saying. Like you should have some good numbers, like so you can shut the investors' mouth.
But they
and
had
then you
good
can keep.
numbers, right? Like they
No,
had
but they
great
ended up
numbers and everything. And so I think
but
it was
they
just
ended up
he was
failing
not.
what the investor wanted to do, which is
And I
taking
think that's
players'
because he
data.
didn't set good expectations or he didn't understand what they wanted, which came from him not being mainly a CEO guy. So
Yeah. Yeah,
So I don't-
yeah, he is not the most experienced one, possibly. I mean, I don't
Mhm.
know. But yeah, there's definitely some expectation. He definitely like came out and like say that he's wrong. Sony throwing
Right, right.
Helldivers under the bus is so sad. It is so sad because it's a good game. Everyone loves it. The
Mhm.
developer loves it. The player loves it. The investor just wants more money and more numbers. Like oh look, you got 400,000 players, but those 400,000 players are not subscribed to like our PlayStation network. That's the thing, right? That's the number. The number of the PlayStation Network players are only 50,000 because there's like the amount of number that play of people that plays in PlayStation, and they wanted more. So it ended up being a numbers game, right?
Was that the
that's what I'm
reason, or
saying.
was it because Sony
Yeah, that's
mainly funded? I feel like it might be because Sony just funded them,
The
right?
Sony kind of published the game. I don't know if they fully funded the game, but like they had an agreement, I think, at some point about the game should requiring the PSN, and he
Right,
tried to
right.
push
And I
back
think
on it a bit. He didn't push back enough, so Sony came back like 6 months after the game, like couple months after the game release, and like demanding it to be.
And
put
that's
up.
where I'm saying like a good CEO would have been better there. Like I don't think the numbers had anything to do with it. I think like they had an agreement and he didn't push back in the right way that would have made them listen to it until it was too late. Like, and it was one of those things where maybe he also thought that it was good because they never fought back on it originally.
They never brought it up until a month in.
Right. Whereas like a proper CEO might have.
The CEO could have been better. But also another way of like satisfying the thing is like to just have good numbers, right?
But would that have changed anything in that instance? Like,
it probably would. The reason like the help, like they ended up like going with the PlayStation subscription and like the PSN accounts is basically like the one that I said earlier. Like there's only 50,000 players that like actually like plays on PlayStation. The rest of it is like PC players. And there's no like that means like PlayStation doesn't get a cut from any of the payment that happens in the game, other than like because they're not buying it from like the PlayStation store, right? Unlike those 50,000 people. And second of all, they cannot profit from like the player data too. So like that's like money lost here and there for the company, for the Sony. And like moreover, the game itself is not designed to make recurring revenue, like in a way that like it like not like as in like not a live service, but in a way like it's not like Final Fantasy 14 where like you guarantee to get $15 a month, or like if you play on PlayStation you have to have like the PSN subscription. So like I think the numbers behind the scenes, the profit is just not as compelling for the investor compared to like something like fucking Fortnite or Call of Duty that makes millions. And that's the thing.
But
We can say that like it's a different game. And
but is it
and
so
it
profitable
really is.
though? Is the thing like?
It's not enough. Have you seen like how Microsoft closed fucking Tango Gameworks?
Okay, well, yeah.
The game
That
won.
was
The game
that was terrible.
Game of the
'cause-
Year contender. The game was successful and overwhelming positive. Everyone loves it. Studio gets closed because it's not making enough money. So this is why I always like be like the game should have good numbers so we can keep those people executed from making bad decisions like that.
Yeah, I just
'Cause
feel that
I don't want good games to get close. That's all.
yeah. No,
I don't
I
like
feel that
paying,
it's
paying for like I don't like constantly paying for things. For example, like Final Fantasy. That's the reason I never play the game because I don't like paying monthly for it, especially when I don't have much time. But at the same time, I don't want them close because like some rich guy behind the scenes be like, oh, this game is not making me enough money. Close it down. That's my take on it.
yeah. I don't know. It's like I always feel like as long as something's profitable, it should be fine. Like for instance,
it should have been.
Like
it's
you
just
know,
not
like,
enough money for the people in the back.
Right.
Apparently, a couple hundred millions is not enough. They need billions.
That has to be a I don't know. Maybe it's also an expectation thing too, because you know about Guild Wars 1 and 2.
No.
Like their MMOs that are out there, and Guild Wars 2 is the latest one that's like funded and still getting updates. But Guild Wars 1, like they're still running all the servers and still selling the stuff because for like what they've said is that running those servers and everything, it's costs so little money to do that it doesn't make sense for them not to leave it up, right?
Well, who's the company behind the Guild Wars 1 and 2?
What is it? It's not a good one. It's like actually, let me see. It's like it starts with an N, and it's one of the Korean ones. NCSoft. Let me see.
Okay, NCSoft is pretty bad.
Let me double check.
From what I heard, not the best one.
I know it's ArenaNet, but who's ArenaNet?
It's not so unreasonable. It is
yeah,
unreasonable.
NCSoft, yeah.
It is unreasonable, Carol. I'm not saying it's not unreasonable. It's just when it's like imagine this. Imagine something like Call of Duty.
Yep.
If it's the same as it is right now, but it's free.
Okay. Yep.
So you will lose like that whole $70 like upfront cost, which is what they're planning to do with the Game Pass like next coming game. So we'll see how that goes. But like,
yeah, how does
Game
Pass make money?
Game Pass doesn't make money.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
It's a loss. Yeah, it's a loss lead.
It's a loss lead. Right. Sorry. I'm about to sneeze there.
Oh, I hate it when that happens.
But like, the game, some games have different like targets. Games that are like live service usually aims for profit and player engagement, which you would need. Like that means you need something in the game to do. And like if you aim for something like Honkai, like Star Rail is definitely like more geared toward like profit rather than like player engagement, because like we all know that people come back for like 15 minutes a day.
But like that's
that 15-minute means like when you show to the investor, you can be like, oh, look at this, we have like 20 million players log in daily. That's all they need to show to the gameplay to the investor, right? And the investor gonna be like nodding and like they're gonna leave you alone.
How long is that gonna last for? Though I'm just wondering.
As long as they can keep it like that way, they can keep player coming back like regularly.
No. I mean more like, how should I put it? Because right now a lot of the investors are much older, or an older generation, right? So they're not as literate on like tech and stuff. But it's like I wonder as the younger crowd gets older and older and they start to fill in these roles, will investors be more privy and understand like these numbers don't mean shit.
Next generation.
Yeah.
Because like the current generation, old people are all gamers technically, right? People that play the old games and stuff. So hopefully the next generation is gonna be people that actually have played games before, so they know what's going on. Now, how long that is not for me to say.
Yeah,
Rich
it'll
people
probably
can
take a
last
while.
longer because they just have
the
more
money.
money. They can they can stay healthy for longer. So that's a problem for me in the business in general. Like honestly, there's a lot of design. I think even in gacha games. Like let's face it, gacha games are like quote unquote predatory. Well,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Just predatory in general. Yeah, and like we just happens to be like a couple of people, like two guys right here that is like somewhat money conscious, and like has control over our own finances. So like it's not a bad influence at least if. And even if there's a bad influence, at least like it doesn't affect other people's life. Like there are kids out there that just straight up, swiping their parents' credit card until its limit. So like it's the gacha game is not really, it's not exactly the sane of game genre. Where I'm going with this, my brain just blanked out. Oh boy.
Either way, it sucks. I think we both want
it
the
sucks
money.
that it sucks that the game has to profit, but that's also the only way for the game to live. I think that's what I'm trying to go with. It's like at the end of the day, the game has to make money first if we want to keep being served by them. So there are some things that they could improve though. Like for example, the echoes, they could have at least allowed us to like use it as a material or something.
Oh, I think they had that too at the beginning, but maybe because you can infinitely farm it,
yeah, but that's the thing. Like it takes a lot of time, but it saves you the energy if you can do that, right? So like instead of cutting down the domain cost, they can just be like give you another option, right? So instead of farming for like the echo XP thingy, you can just farm the normal echoes and then.
Well, that's also a thing. Like, why don't we have a domain that's like a training simulation just for the
because
Echo
you can
EXP.
you can get them from the tacit field or something like that.
You can.
That's how they do it.
Then it's also more expensive, and then
I know
it's like
they should make that like cost the same as the other material because like it's technically part of the materials.
Right.
So I think they should adjust that, and then the bosses the bosses can be 40, like slightly lower, but like higher than the materials, but like lower than like the weekly ones. The weekly ones can be expensive, but like a weekly thing, so like not a big commitment. It's fine.
I think that's
you
fine.
sacrifice one day, and then you can have like the rest of the days like farming other things or like fighting bosses you want to fight. But like I think like I'm more of like a proponent of like giving people options instead of like making the grinding like the grind costs less energy, but you still have to grind anyway. Like you have to grind at that specific point all the time, like just that one domain, because like one domain has like one type of material, right? So,
right.
If you want to farm for like sword characters, then you gotta grind this domain for the next fucking month or something. Or you can just like give people other options, like some monsters maybe like the echo. If the echoes is like can be used for upgrades, then you can just like spend your time roaming around the world when you don't have the energy, and then just get echoes and XP from that way. Or maybe maybe like the human characters can drop the materials for upgrades. Doesn't have to be 100% fixed chance, but like they can be like an uncommon drop or like a rare drop.
Yeah, what's the point of having human enemies in this game, to be honest?
I know. That's the thing. The human enemies only drop like a couple types of materials that you need. Yeah, but it's not even that important either. Because like at some point you just don't have to fight them anymore, right? Like for example, like right now I have like so much like human materials that I don't need to fight them. I just avoided them, and that's like at some point if I have too much materials of everything, I just avoid everything.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to get at. Like if you give the players too much too much like materials, they're gonna end up avoiding the whole game because like in the game they're gonna come back once in the month, and that's not good. Like again, going back to like earlier, that's not good for the numbers because like when they show the investors, they're gonna be like, oh yeah, our players logged in like once a month when we
I don't
drop the
know.
new events.
But if you can say like they logged in once a month, but we made $20 million or something like that
think
can
it's
be
good.
good. Like,
And I think that's good. What the investor thing is that like, what if they lock in twice a month and we can make 40 millions?
but you don't have the data to say that though. Like,
No. They make theories based on that data. So if people lock in once a month, you make 20 millions. So if we can make them like locked in once a week, we can make 80. It's different if people locked in every day already and we make, let's say, 100 millions, they don't have a room to argue, is what I'm trying to say. You cannot add more days to the month.
yeah, I don't know. This is where I would just be. It's one of those.
I just don't want to give them room to argue. I'm just gonna be like,
yeah,
hey,
yeah. I see what you're coming from.
this is our max profit here. The game is profiting, and it's like the best that we can do. That's how I'm trying to portray the
Yeah.
report.
I know what you're saying because like my inner voice would be like, no, you're fucking idiots. Like, shut up. But I also know if I was in that meeting, I know I wouldn't be able to say that. So it's like I get it. Like,
You can say that, and you can get instantly kicked out by the security.
right? It would be like like those old cartoons where it's like you're in those meetings and then it's like it cuts to like a cartoon version of them like screaming or like or in cursing. It's like that would be me. Like, because it like
Happy player, happy numbers, more profit. Ideally, like that. But have you seen some games out there that is like most profitable, but like still not enough? Apparently.
Yeah.
I mean, you see, like if people not following the gaming industry these days, some companies make record profits and they fire people in exchange for that.
Yep.
So I don't know I don't know how to tell you guys. It's just more money is not enough if it's not the max amount of money you can get from them. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like if you put the game into once a month thingy, they're gonna think that, oh, if we can make the players come in every day, we're gonna make X amount of time of profit. And I don't want them to say that ever. God forbid they say that.
Yeah, but at the same time though, it's like you ask your players to log in every day and they're just gonna eventually get burnt out and leave. So
they do that already with all other games, right? People in Genshin comes back back when Genshin there is no other option other than Genshin. People comes back once every day for half an hour to do the commissions.
I don't think Genshin has reached its point yet. Like I think a better example would be WoW, because like I think people have finally gotten tired enough of WoW where they're just stop playing it. Like it'll be interesting because even the latest expansion that was supposed to be better, like not a lot of people came back for that. So it'll be interesting to see like if they ever recover from their stuff, but they're not dead yet. It's still plenty popular, but it's not what it used to be. But it just took a while.
Especially not with a lot of the controversy they're having this
last
few years. You can
so it's
Final
like I
Fantasy
feel like
is a good example.
Yeah.
But
so
at the
I
same
feel
time,
like
it's also,
for
as
Genshin,
you said, it's a different business.
Yeah, I feel like for Genshin, what'll end up happening is like it'll still be fine, I think, until they end up going to Conria. And if the game is still in the state that it is right now, when you're in Conria, I think people will just end up leaving after that. Because then, the main story's done. They've seen that the developer hasn't changed, and games like Wuthering Waves and Conria is probably like 3 or 4 years on the road. So probably other games will come out too. So I think that'll be...
I think by the time Canria comes out, they already have another game in mind.
With MiHoYo or just in general?
MiHoYo. MiHoYo would. That's how the live service works, right? That's exactly how they design HSR, and like it's like the business it's like the way HSR designed themselves, for example. Like I think that's just, do you know like how the MOC and the Pure Fictions and like the new upcoming dungeon, it's all gonna be overlapping.
Yep.
Yeah, so like at some point they're just gonna be like, this week you're gonna come back to HSR, you're gonna switch to their other game and then switch to their other game again. It's like they're trying to overlap all their games, so like you keep having something to come back to their company for.
Which is actually probably a good idea, right? Because that's why they're doing Zenless Zone 0 for...
Yeah.
Because...
I just hope like the old games that they had, like Genshin, could have been better.
Yep.
Have the Honkai games all have been finished story-wise? I'm pretty sure like they're still going. I don't know. I never played Honkai.
Honkai Impact's main story is done. However, they started a new part of that story. So, and that I think just got started. Like they revamped like a lot of stuff to it as well, in hopes of trying to get new players. But I don't think it's really drawn anyone
I don't think it's
new in
out.
yet. Yeah.
I think it's
they kind of made the player
most new
base a little
players
bit
to get
mad
in.
too, with who they decided to be the new main character. But
To be fair, the fans on like those two, like Genshin and Honkai Impact,
they are
issues.
Yep. But yeah, it's
Yeah, I think for like games, I think games that I know is pretty good is something like Warframe. I don't know if you ever played it, but like if any like to people who never played it,
I haven't,
that
but
game,
I've heard some good things. I also heard there's a lot of old systems in place that
it is.
be trapped.
The game can be a bit like feel a bit like old fashioned in other like in some parts. But the part that I always want like other developer to like copy is the fact that you can grind the premium currency. So like people can either pay you with your money or your time. But like in games like Genshin and like even WoWa right now, there's something that you cannot. There's just some things that you just cannot grind, no matter how much you want to.
Oh, so I was just gonna say, like, one thing I really did like was, have you played Apex before?
Apex Legend?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I love how their battle pass, like, you buy it once, and then as long as you complete the battle pass, you're able to buy every new battle
Fortnite,
pass after
you can buy the new one. Yeah.
Yeah, because they give you enough currency.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that one too.
So that could be cool, and then, but yeah, I agree. Like having some other options in there would be nice.
Yeah, if you just make the game viable for people to grind, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people out there that will grind the game. I mean, Warframe. Look at the Warframe. Warframe still sells premium currency, and like you can grind the premium currency too. You don't have to buy it at all. But the game is still here right now. Like what, 11 years? Because like they released in like 2013. So like clearly,
But also they might just have something where it's more of a, how should I put it? Like for them and their investors, like so long as the game is making money and not losing.
So the thing is for digital, like for Warframe, is that they're self-published, so that's why they can make the game as good as they are. Yeah.
Oh,
so
and
they don't have to
that
talk with investors.
Are they the ones that publish other games too? Because wasn't Digital Foundry
Wayfinder?
Yeah, Wayfinder. That's what it was.
Wayfinder, and it went bad. As a developer, they're pretty good. As a publisher, clearly they failed.
No, I mean, but the developers behind that seem very good because they're converting that into a single player game.
Yeah.
Which I know pissed some people off, but it's really good that they care enough about it.
It pissed people. It pissed people off because like it's a different.
They
genre
wanted it
than,
MMO.
Most people.
Yeah.
Yeah. People that play Wayfinder back then was like an MMO player, right, and not a single player gamer. But honestly, it's better than like not making money at all.
Yeah. Well, not so much that. I think it's better just from a game preservation state because I think we lose so much of our own history.
Yeah.
Like just.
That's actually what I wish would happen to Genshin 2. If one day the story ever finish, I want them to turn this game into a single player game. Honestly, I feel like I don't know if you would ever be able to do it, but it's like I feel like if your game was online, required online stuff or like a digital game or something, I feel like it should not be, how should I put it? It should not be against the law for somebody else to host that on a different server or anything, Like you should almost be required by law to hand it over to like a library or something that then hosts their own servers. Like the fact that they can just take down the game forever, nobody has access to it, and then if they try to come up with private servers, it's just already to the crew.
Hmm?
Did you know the game from the Ubisoft, The Crew?
The Crew.
You cannot play it anymore. They just take down the server.
Right. I think that's wrong. Like,
yeah, I think that's wrong. That's why I was like, I hope one day Genshin, like, you know, you don't have to like give our money back. You know, the money is yours. You know, it's you've deserved it. But like, at least like make the game like single player, and then like from now on, I can I can enjoy the game by myself.
Right.
As the story, you know, I can enjoy it as like a full single player experience, and I can always come back to it whenever I want to, and not just like the game disappears forever.
Yeah, because it's like we've lost like a lot of like even like MMOs and stuff. Like, if you heard of like WildStar and everything, that's just they're completely gone. And then also even gacha games. Like, there's like 2 gacha games that I've played like in the past couple of years that I've closed down with Dragaria Lost and Exos Heroes. And I really enjoyed those games. Exos Heroes had a very bad development team, but it was a very fun game and the characters were really cool. But it's like they're just closed down, and now there's no way for me to ever play those games again, which just, you know, really stinks.
Well, were they in the business for a long time?
Dragaria Lost was in there for about like 3 years, I think, and Exos was probably only about like 2.
Okay, it's a couple of years, so like they should have like had the chance. Yeah, they just didn't want to.
Well, it's like I feel like the one with Dragaria Lost was a Nintendo, like it was Nintendo published by Psy Games. So like Psy Games, the creator of Grand Blue, was the developers, but Nintendo published it, and I think Nintendo didn't like the profit of it. I think. I honestly, I would need to look up why that one closed down, because I mean the story kind of turned to crap. It went very incesty there, but
oh wow.
But it was a very good gameplay wise, in all honesty. Like,
kind of nice. I mean, what?
No.
Okay,
gameplay wise, it was very good.
I cannot do incest. I'm the only child.
Oh,
so incest is impossible for me, technically speaking.
No. You don't want it. But
I'm not saying I would. I'm just saying like no.
And then Exos Heroes was, in all honesty, like it was pretty much Honkai Star Rail before Honkai Star Rail. Like, it had a really good story, good actually like combat too, like turn-based combat. The problem was that the developer or the main development lead, he just didn't know how that game should go at all. So like he kind of ran the game into the ground, and it just kind of fell apart. But it was actually really good. It's a shame that not a lot of people got to play it.
Okay.
So yeah, it's like even with gacha games, it's like it stinks that they're closing down already.
Yeah. Even if I wish would exist, it still exists, would be something like Dragon S. I don't know if you've ever played that.
No.
I love the story on that game. They even made a movie out of it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So like they made 2 movies out of it. I don't know what happened to the game, because like now most people like in the West, I don't think I've ever heard it. I think it's pretty popular in Asia back then.
Let me see.
Yeah, Dragon S. They have a movie. I think the movie is like mostly Chinese, which just makes it will make sense like if you never heard it. But yeah, the game was good, but I wish they had,
when I'm looking
they had
for
the money.
When I just type in Dragon S, that doesn't.
Dragon's Nest.
Oh, dragons! Oh, dragons! This is the like sexy
Dragon
one.
Nest.
Oh
no, it's not that sexy. It's like the very cartoony.
Oh, okay, never mind. I'm thinking of a different game. What's the? Hang on. Because Unicorn Overlord, who's the developer for that? I've really loved this one, but they made another game that I thought was Dragon something. Vanilla Software. Your list of games, please. Dragon's Crown. That's what I was.
Here, that's the one that I'm.
Yeah. Okay.
About.
Yeah. No, that one is not what I was thinking of.
Yeah, but like I wonder if it's because the game doesn't profit enough, which is weird because like most of the time MMOs usually make a lot of money.
Hmm. Even like the really
And
bad
but
ones,
like
like with autoplay.
but we already know that like something like MiHoYo made a lot of money, right? Which is why I
Hmm.
was like, I hope that at least they use that money to actually make the game offline after they profit enough from the game.
Hmm.
They can just be like, hey, you know, the game is going to be a single player now. We're gonna release it on like every platform, like like put it on Steam or something like that. If you ever spend money on the game, it's free. If you haven't spent on the money on the game, it's like $10 or something like that.
Hmm.
And now you know now you can experience it yourself without without the paying the extra money. And like people that already got like that already spend money on it gets to keep enjoying what they have. I don't know. That sounds like a win-win for me. What do you
Hmm.
think?
It does. It does. And then especially if they can open it up to like mods and stuff, right? And then
I mean,
because
it's already moddable now.
it is, it's
Have
just
you seen like
against
people?
TOS
Yeah,
and everything.
yeah. It would be even better if they can. Yeah, if they.
Hmm.
I mean, by the time the game turns into single player, I think like mod should. It's not out of the picture at all.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's
So
take it
I think
slow.
we diverge quite far from
Yeah, yeah. From
Wuwa.
Wuthering Waves and talking about Genshin and random stuff.
We haven't even talked about like how good the weapon banner is compared to like Genshin.
Oh yeah, yeah. I haven't pulled on it yet. Have you tried any or?
I did a 10 pull and I got it immediately.
Ooh, nice, nice. Okay.
I got the sword, which is like I sorely needed for like my main character. I appreciate the fact that like the weapon banner is separated from the character banner, and you get to
Yes, yes.
choose which
Hmm.
one you go with. I don't like the fact that they separated the event weapon banner though, like the currencies.
You see, I don't know how I feel about that yet, because it's like on one hand, it's like you can get the free currency from that shop every now and then, so maybe even
But
people
yeah,
that
but you
don't
have to
spend on
buy
it
it
can eventually.
separately.
Hmm.
But you have to buy it separately. In Genshin, when you got the 5 extra pulls, you can just choose those 5 extra pulls on either the weapon banner or like the standard banner, like the character banner,
Right,
right?
but I don't know. I feel like I need to wait more long term to really see if it's going to be a good or a bad thing. But I definitely do see
Mm.
where people are coming, like where people have their concerns on it.
I don't think it's not as bad. I just think it's more annoying
Mm-hmm.
because that means like when like you're doing events or like they're doing the apology stuff, they're gonna give you like one of the currency. Like for example, like last time we got the free 20 pulls on
Right,
GM's
right,
banner,
right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's the only thing you can pull from. You cannot pull the weapons because like it's a different currency.
Mm-hmm.
So like it'd be different if they just give us the astrite and then we can pick whichever we want to pull with. But they just gave us the actual currency for pulling.
Hmm.
Victory.
That also that means like it limits your option. So like that means like you either like like yeah it reduces your option, I'd say. Instead of like either pulling weapon and or character, you either pull the character or like you don't pull at all.
Hmm. But it's like I wonder if. Hmm.
So it's not the worst.
Right, right.
It's just reducing options. It's just not the best direction to go with, in my
The loot
opinion.
we find is not part of my pay. It's all yours.
I don't know, but considering like free players can build it up over time, and then, I mean, it also makes it that way. If they want to give people a reward, they can make sure that people are going to spend it on that, what they want. Which I know, I don't know if that's, I don't know if that's a good thing or not. But like say for instance, if there was an issue with the weapon banner, they could then give people extra currency for that weapon banner, right? But I see what you're saying, where it's just better to have the currency anyway, and then let your players decide how they want to spend it.
Yeah, I think I'm just more of like give the player more option in general. That's just the kind of person I am.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's about the banner. Banner mostly pretty good.
Yeah, and
My luck
it's
was pretty
very-
ass.
yeah, it's very nice that we don't have to do the 50-50, right? You can just get the
Yeah.
weapon you want.
Yeah.
Although I do wonder how people are ever going to get the 5-star, like the standard ones. Because no one's going to pull in that banner, I think.
Okay, I think this is something that Wuba could do. I think they should expand the standard banner, unlike the other games.
Yes, that would be
I
nice.
think,
yeah.
I think like standard banners should get updated at the very least, every new version.
Every new version.
Yeah.
I would
so
s-
for example, in Genshin, we got Monster and Lia, right? So for example, when Inazuma comes, they should have
Oh,
like, at
that's what
least
you meant
put
by
one or two
version.
characters.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking
One or
about
two
like
characters on
1.1
the
or
standard
something.
banner.
Hmm.
No, not every patch. Like every version. So like 1.0, 2.0, at
Yes.
least every version. Yeah.
I could agree with that. I think that is
So like
definitely...
so every new region gives you like, all this character, like 5 or 6 even event character banner,
Mhm.
and one extra character on the standard banner. So it spans the free stuff.
I feel like they should maybe do it like once a character and weapon have had a rerun, then add them onto that afterwards, right? But that one, I think that's a good one too, right? Like once every like version, which is about what, like once every year or so.
I think I remember you telling me that like this happens in other gacha games.
Oh yeah,
So I
yeah,
probably can't
pretty
say
much.
much.
But like they do it like right after the banner's done, right? So it's not even like a... how should I put it? It's not even like after a year or so. It's like, nope, just as soon as their initial banner is done, they're in the standard pool, and that's it.
That will be too hard for like a game of this caliber.
Yeah, like in Reverse 1999, and I think the only reason why they don't do it is because Genshin doesn't do it, and so a lot of games are...
And I think that makes sense why like Genshin doesn't do it. I don't
think
we
it
talked about
makes sense
last
at
time.
all,
I don't
like-
know if we talked.
like
It
why
makes
do you
sense in a way like you cannot design character as fast as you do in other games.
No, but why
Right.
should that prevent your players from being able to get them?
Well, because they need materials to like promote. Like if you cannot design new content as fast compared to like other company, you gotta be able to recycle your old content. I think that's the argument that
But-
I made last time.
But you can still do like... you could still do rerun banners. They just have like an increased chance,
It's
right?
just
So-
not at it's just not as like compelling
My
though.
luck seems good. Like
True,
thing.
but it's...
I think they want to keep the image of like they want to both like this is like my like what is it called again? Skepticism. But I think it's they want to keep the FOMO.
Oh, for sure. They want to keep the FOMO
So like,
there. Like I get...
so in order to make people swipe more, and if like the characters are already on standard banner, no one's doesn't give you that FOMO, because you can swipe anytime. You don't have to swipe now. You don't have to swipe ever. You'll eventually get it.
well,
It's on a standard
not
banner.
necessarily eventually, right? Because if it's on the standard banner, then there's a chance that you can get it if you lose your 50-50 and stuff, right? But you're
Yeah,
not...
but at some point,
like you would still
in
need
this-
a
if
write-up
it's-
banner to guarantee it.
no, like sequel. If it's on the standard banner, at some point you will get it, because like if you
Nope.
if everything comes to the standard banner, I'm just gonna keep rolling there until I get maxed out everything. And
But
then
you're
I'll get the
still not
character that I want.
guaranteed it, right? Like I've been playing Genshin since the start, and while I don't play it all the time, there are still standard banner characters that I don't have, right? So it's like, just because something is
Yeah.
there, it doesn't mean
No,
that
but,
people are going to be able to
but-
get it.
But the only reason you didn't have everything is because you rarely pull on them. If everything eventually comes to standard banner, I would never pull for character banner. I just put everything on the standard banner because I'll
No.
eventually get them.
You would still pull on the normal character because it has a write up, right?
Like if
So-
it does come out, yeah, maybe. If it doesn't come out, if it's not coming in like the next 4 to 6 months, I'm just gonna pull on the standard banner. And then like if I don't get them now, I'll get them eventually because it's permanent.
I think that's more of a you thing. I think people would still pull on the normal like write up banner to guarantee the new character, right?
No, yeah. would pull it when it comes, and if it doesn't comes, I go back to the standard banner.
Right,
That's
right,
what I'm
right.
trying to say. Because in the standard banner, when you like, sure, you might not get the 5-star that you want, but even the 5-star that you don't want will eventually maxed out too, right? They will eventually be like, for example, like if we have been like, for example, like Genshin has been here for like what, 3 years?
I
Let's
think
say
it was like 4 years. Yeah.
Yeah, 4 years. Let's say like Venti goes to like the standard banner as soon as he comes out after his banner done, and then I want him. I can just keep pulling on the standard banner. I'm gonna get like ka-ching, like she will eventually be C6. Like Diluc is eventually gonna be C6. Like assuming my luck is that bad, right? Like everyone is gonna be eventually E6, and then by then, like I'm just gonna keep getting free pulls, and I will be able to pull for the.
But why wouldn't you
Venti.
still, if they're in the standard banner, why wouldn't you still just pull in the character event banner, right? Because
it
you
might
could
not be the character. Because like maybe I want the
well, because if you
the
lose your
Ven-
50-50, then it could
if
be
Ven-
one of
if
those new
Fenty
characters.
if
Yeah.
Fenty rerun, then sure, I'm gonna pull on
No,
Fenty.
not the rerun. So like, say Venti gets put onto the standard banner, right? And then they have a
Yeah.
new character that comes out. You could still pull in the new character banner, and then you could get Venti as your pity breaker, right? So, like, there's still, I don't know. I still don't think you would see people
true.
pulling on the standard banner all that much.
I guess that's true. That one is true. I guess.
Yeah, and I think Cry here also makes a good point in that Genshin never really gives out standard banner pulls anyway. So, unlike where we've seen with Wuthering Waves and PGR, they are giving out, standard banner currency. So,
Yeah, I mean
It would
Genshin
be-
in general is just stingy.
mm-hmm.
It's Chinese New Year, guys. Here's your 10 pulls once in a year.
10 pulls and then some chicken, right? Is the
I know, yeah. It's in the year too, and it's your yearly 10 pulls. Happens only in Chinese New Year and Chinese New Year only. At least Starl gives us a free update. At like anniversary, they gave us like what, 20? I think 20
Yeah,
pulls,
they
right?
gave us-
last like.
I
a
still
couple
feel like
months
they
ago.
could have been a lot more generous during the anniversary. Like, because usually like anniversaries is where gacha games should be going like ham on rewards. Like usually they're giving out like 100 free pulls or like a guaranteed 5-star, like all kinds of stuff. But I mean, they were a little bit more generous than normal, but they still could have been a lot more generous.
I think considering it's a MiHoYo game, it's pretty generous.
Yeah,
by their
but
standard.
You
I'm
shouldn't
not
be.
saying it's the most generous.
Yeah. We shouldn't be like, I don't know.
It's
We just don't ask
it's
for
also
more,
coming from
right?
someone. Yeah, I'm also coming from someone that only plays 2 games. Two
Right,
gacha
right.
Games, Genshin and like Star Rail. So like my only point of comparison is like Genshin Impact, and it's fucking worse.
This should come in handy.
Yeah, because these are the only 3 gacha games you've played, right? Genshin, Honkai, and then
y-
Wuthering?
Yeah, I played some like a bit of other like games like this, like anime games. Like I played Counter-Strike, like a mobile game.
Oh, okay.
I think. But like I didn't commit as much compared to like this 3. This 3 is like the only 3 games like so far that I've actually played through the story, paid attention, played like consistently for some period of time. Like the other games, I gave it a try, didn't really get into it, just play it for the sake of playing it. Like super casual.
Right.
So yeah, I can only give like my opinion based on this 3.
Hmm.
And my like opinion from like my experience from playing other games, because
Right.
that's what I'm experienced on, playing games with like actual big budget and like single
Which I think
player
is good,
games.
like to have a wide range of stuff to play and draw from. Because that was the thing that like somebody, like I mentioned that interview that I was talking about earlier with the CEO. Like one thing that he said is like he's not big on doing prototypes for games because the world is filled with prototypes, right? It's filled with games that have succeeded and failed and everything. So just take one of those as your prototype and
just
then go with
try
that.
those games.
Yeah. Have I played
that makes
FGO?
perfect sense.
I have not played FGO, mainly because I was playing Grand Blue Fantasy at the time. But I have heard good things about Fate Grand Order from the, at least from the story department. And the characters are Fate, so of course they're good too. Have you seen like the Fate anime at all, Con? Or
I watched the super old one, the and like
oh,
only
like Stay
couple
Night and everything.
episodes.
Hmm.
Yeah, Fate Stay Night, like the super old one. That's it.
Yeah, it's a very interesting series and stuff. So one of these days
So
I will
I've
have to go
seen-
in and try FGO.
I just had too many games. I don't want to overcommit.
That
to,
is the
like,
thing too.
gacha games. Yeah. I am more of like a player that likes a proper single player experience. You know, maybe like something like Elden Ring and stuff.
Yep, Elden Ring. I think you were playing Baldur's Gate 3 before too, right? So
Yeah, I still have to come back to that. I haven't tried Dragon's Dogma 2. I bought that game, never played it until now. Because there's always new games that comes out that I have to keep playing. You know, like before I ended up playing Dragon's Dogma, I ended up getting sucked into like the Star Rail story, so I had to finish those first.
I gotcha.
Like to catch up and everything, because like it's again, it's like it's a live service game, which like limits what you can do daily. So like I just have to actually commit daily to make progress. Because like Dragon's Dogma, you know, I bought it once. I can come back to it anytime. The experience is gonna be the same. Like Honkai Star Rail, you know, but there's a big difference between like me playing it now and me playing it like 1 year ago and me playing it 1 year later. So
speaking on the daily progress stuff, what are your thoughts on? Because I think both of us have pretty much hit a kind of a stopping point, right? Where we are in our levels, because I think we're both in like
kind
the
of,
30s.
yeah. We're in
it's
the
like,
soft cap in the current chapter. Honestly, the only thing we can do is dailies, some side mission that we have left. But even then,
right? And it's like, and I wish that they had just, I wish that we hit this point just a little bit later, because I hate how the data bank is like, I think both of us are probably like at 19, maybe almost 20, but we can't get it because we need to be.
I'm maxed out, like literally maxed out.
I think I need just a couple more echoes, like 5-star echoes, and I'll be maxed out too. But it's like, come on, it's like, just get us. Let's have the data bank leveled up.
See, this is what weirds me out. Like, I feel like the overall pace of the game is too fast. The story seems a bit too rush. The whole leveling, like the data bank especially, like the leveling is kind of slow, but like the data bank feels too fast. Because like now, like right now, like we already lost one of the game feature, basically the data bank, because like we're maxed out already. Right? So
right,
like next time we're coming back to this game, 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, that's one less thing we will be concerned about.
Well,
in a way,
that depends on if they add new echoes and everything, right? Because they could easily add in a couple new echoes and then.
Yeah. Then what they're gonna like lower our level?
Oh no, they won't lower it, but it would be a new thing to collect, like. So yeah, we won't be getting a level.
But like there's no more pressure, because like I will always get the best version of those echoes.
Right. And that's fine.
Like,
like oh.
Yeah, because like the thing with the data bank is that like you're not only collecting it for the levels, you're collecting it for the prize too, right? The claim prize.
Right.
And like now we've reached to the point where like the only thing we're gonna get is gonna be the echo. Because like filling out the collection doesn't really give you anything.
Yeah, I feel like that'll be the.
Out.
Yeah, but I feel like that'll be probably the more end game, right? It'll become more of a collectible like Pokedex thing, right? And then in the future,
yeah, I mean, that's what I'm getting at. Like technically, we're already at the end game, and the story is only the first chapter.
Yeah.
That's why I feel that's why I said it feels like too fast. Like the story barely started, and like look at us. Like it's like those like meme game where like you're coming back to the main story and like you're level 100 chat.
But that's kind of
like,
how
everything
Genshin and everything was too, right? Where you could farm up your 5-star, relics in the first
Genshin.
version.
No, Genshin actually, I don't think you can reach level 45 in the first patch. No.
No, you could. Trust me, there were people. I was even close to getting to that. In fact, I'm almost positive I was.
You can
Like-
you can get to level 30 or something. You cannot get to level 45.
There were people that were at 45. Like, trust me on that. Like, it does seem hard, but there were people that grinded that game hard and got up there. So, no, I would agree that not your average player did it, but it was possible. And I feel like the same thing with Star Rail too. I feel like I was at like 65 or like relatively high within the first patch. So,
Really?
Like, so you're not supposed to be there within like the first week or two, but like by the end of the first patch, like which is usually like a month and a half, you should be relatively close to it. Now, I wasn't like 75, but I was at least high enough to farm like 5-star relics and everything. And I think even getting to the double drop, because Star Rail is the one that has like double drop rates, right? Once you get to a certain level.
The double drop rates?
Or like
For
not
what?
double drop rates, but like I think Honkai Star Rail is like you can farm 5-star
the gold
relics
ones?
at a certain.
You can farm them at like level 3, like world level 3. I'm level, like my side accounts are like level 50 now, but like I haven't finished the equilibrium, so like it's equilibrium like 2 or 3. You can already get gold stuff from it.
Right,
so
but
it's
it's
not
like
that
you only
high
get
of a
like
level.
1 or something though. Is the
Yeah, but like you can already get them technically. I don't have to level up anymore to get the 5 to get the 5-star. I will still get them. But like I think Genshin, when I first played, I think I played every day. That's the thing. I played every day back then. But even with all the dailies until like the first patch, I couldn't really like maxed out everything. Because I remember I was super committed in the first like version 1 until version 1.2, I think, when they did the graphical upgrades and stuff. If I'm not wrong. I think 1.2 is when they did the fix and like they made like Celestia visible from like the ground or something. They fixed the lighting.
Ooh,
and
okay.
everything. But I still remember this. But like I think by 1.2, I'm still not like at the soft cap.
What do you mean? What was a soft cap like?
Soft cap is like 55, right?
Oh, okay, that's
That's like when the next level 56 is like 1,000,000 or something XP. But like I was decently high, but like not. And also like there's in Genshin it's mostly about the relics, right?
Right. Yep.
And like the domains unlock technically all the domains unlock at like level 30 or something. So like you're right, you can be level 30 and like start grinding everything like stuff, and then like by level 45 you unlock the ability to get the golden the gold level, like the 5 stars artifacts.
Right. Because I think it was the same thing where it's like you could unlock the gold ones earlier, but then like I think there's like a point where like it drops more gold.
Oh no, 45 is like when you start getting the 5 stars.
Right. But then there's like another point after that where you get like multiple, right?
Yeah, 50.
50, okay.
50 and then like 50, 55. Actually, I don't remember. It's been so long.
I think we're both getting sidetracked on that then. But
like what was I trying to say again? I lost
with the echoes and like, so like when it's a new patch, right? And we've already farmed all the echoes, like
yeah, the data bank is like max. It's like imagine if you're playing Pokemon and like and like before the first chapter ends, your Pokédex is it's like complete.
No, actually,
What do you think about that?
Think about it like Pokemon though. It's like this is just the first generation, right? So you've completed the first generation, but then they add the second generation, and there's 100 and something new Pokemon for you to go and collect. Not saying that they'll add that much, but they could either add in. They could add
what does
new
like
echoes
filling out the
shinies.
Pokédex do after that. That's what I don't see, because like right now you get the base drop like every level up you get the extra base drop. You get the
Why do you need
the
something?
higher rarity.
why do you need
Well,
something else to
extra incentive, right?
I mean, well, they could either do like new set bonuses, right? Could be a new thing, but I think mainly just having it as more options for people that haven't finished grinding it up, right? Like that's not a bad thing if so like you and me we grind it up
So
and
it's
we
not
were
for
able,
us.
right.
That's what you're saying.
Hmm.
That would
It's going
make
to be more
sense.
for the collectors.
Kind of
and-
sad for me because that means like the update is not for me. Because I'd be like, oh,
I mean, I think they'll for sure add in new relic sets or echo sets, I should say. Right, so you'll still probably grind up for that, like whenever that comes out, because
oh,
these are, we can admit the echo sets are very basic right now, right? Because they're all just like arrow damage or like elemental
not-
damage, and then
I'm not saying like the echoes is not gonna be worth grinding for. I'm saying is that it gives the perception of the game is already ending. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's like as if like when I made the example earlier, like your Pokédex Max. Like
right.
when you watch like the Pokemon anime, like the catchphrase is like catch 'em all, right? That means like
Right.
if your Pokédex is maxed up by chapter 1,
But then they
story
release
ends.
new ones.
because
But-
like you gotta catch them all, and I catch them all already.
But that was just
And
the
like
Kanto
the-
region. Now you got the Johto and the Hoenn and Sinnoh and every Galar. you
So
know,
that means
Kalos.
like that's what I'm saying. That means like they should have had like way upper level than this.
I mean, well, how many are there? It's hard to say because there's.
Like it's just like what I'm saying is like the perception that the data bank give me right now is that like the game has ended because I already captured everything.
Yeah, but more stuff will come out. Like, I don't know. I think we'll have to wait and see. Right?
I mean, more stuff will come out. It better be. There better be new stuff on that new region, and not the same old enemies.
And then they could also, because there's not a lot of shinies in the game right now either, right?
Yeah, they can add more shinies. I don't see the data bank being like, at least the data bank itself, like the level being expanded. What you're gonna
Right,
increase
right.
the cost like at most the cost limit. I can see it happen. I don't think it will happen. It's gonna like ruin the balance.
Yeah, I don't
At
think
some
they'll
point.
increase the level either.
Yeah, but like, I that's the only thing I can reasonably see like being like improved. Maybe the base rate drop.
I mean,
Base
but you
drop rate?
can't change it because it's already at like 100 or something, right?
No, it's 20%. The 100% is like the
Well, 20.
chapter enhanced drop.
Right.
So like if you're that's that has limits. So maybe they increase the limits or something like that. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. And also like the leveling has been like the only way to level is like to spend energy and
Yeah.
do dailies. So like technically right now we're capped by like by the days, by the age of the game. So we'll see how they go with the game updates like next, like what they have for us in store. Like, what do you think the game could improve so far?
Yeah, like I don't know. Like what they can improve or what they'll like add in. Is that?
Yeah, well,
'Cause-
adding in stuff is improving the game, right? Because like we all know that
Well,
the gameplay is already mostly solid,
Right.
other than the camera issues. I don't know if you encountered camera issues.
A
I've had
little bit, like
moments.
where it kind of locks onto something and then doesn't want to like
Yeah.
move, and then.
It happens a lot to me, especially happens more often to me when I'm trying to aim with like the range character. That's freaking sucks.
I would say the biggest thing that the biggest bug I've run into is sometimes the music doesn't want to play. So.
Oh, it happens to me too. Yeah, I had that too. I kind of wish they would do like they would add a toggle for like the aim assist. Because like I really hate attacking a certain characters and then like a goat or like a cow ran beside me and like my character's like, whoa, let me attack that. Let me attack that
Yep.
cow instead. And, like I'm like, god damn it.
Yeah, I've seen that too with the Echo's Last Strike. Like, so I have the What was that one for Coucharo? The
Memphis.
Yeah, the Memphis. Right. Sometimes his last strike, like he'll be attacking enemies just fine, then the last one goes completely in an opposite direction. It makes me like so mad.
There's the bug. That bug. Yeah, it's really annoying. I also hate the one where like the enemy randomly resets. It happens to me on like the Tower of Adversity, and I'm like, what the actual fuck? This is an arena. Why are they resetting?
Well, I hate it
Like, it's
too.
not even,
Where
I didn't even run that far. That's the thing. It's an arena fight.
well, I hate it too when you're facing off against like bosses, especially, and then like for some reason they like to just stay in the outside of their arena, and then they will reset because they naturally just backstepped all the way, and it's like, come on. Like,
Yeah.
it's not even like the player's fault at that point. It's just the enemy is going down that way. So it's like,
Yeah, I find it really annoying. But like overall gameplay has been really freaking solid. I am really enjoying it.
So yeah, but it's like I feel like with versions, I wonder if they'll do what Genshin does, where, like, do you think like if they'll release like a new area every patch, or if it'll just be, because I feel like we've already kind of explored everything with these areas that they have. So
I do still have like one waypoint that I have yet to open.
Oh, is it the one that's like
Last
underground or something that's like annoying to get to?
Yeah, no, I think this one is locked behind a story, judging by how the looks of it.
Well, I've gotten like every one, but there was one that's like underneath like a hill or something, and it's like it was really annoying to get to.
I don't know.
Like this one.
I had this one. I just couldn't find it, and so I'm assuming right now it's behind some part of an area that is locked behind a story.
Nope. No. So that one's not behind a story. There's a secret way to get to there from the maw that was like very confusing. Like you have to go into a certain tunnel to get to it.
Is it not this one?
Yeah.
I thought this is this one that you're talking about.
No.
This is the one that's fighting the boss, right?
That's the one that's by the boss. There's another cave that you can enter though. If you have my stream pulled up, I'll kind of like show you. But there's another cave that you can enter that leads to that area. I had to like look up a YouTube video on how to get there. Oh, I agree. They should definitely work on the Echo EXP in future expansions.
Oh yeah, the Echo is such a XP hog. It needs so much commitment, and like it's basically useless after that.
Yep.
And also like when you use them as a material, the return is ass.
Yeah, so if you just
the
teleport
material
to this
that you
one
get in return is ass.
And go along this edge, you'll enter this cave here. And then this cave
it's
will
on the
lead
other
you all
fucking
Yeah.
Okay.
And then eventually you'll work your way all the way down there.
Okay.
But yeah, it's cool that they have these hidden areas, but also very annoying.
That's very interesting. The map can use more work. UI,
yes.
A lot of problem. The problem about the upgrade map, like the upgrade version that I told you that we talked about earlier, and then there's also the map. Like it doesn't, like you cannot mark certain areas. Like for example, if I want to mark something as like being underground, you just cannot do it. You cannot even put a custom name on the marker.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So you cannot change the name. You cannot put them under, like, you know, you cannot make them point up like, oh, this thing is like underground and not the ground above it, because like the marker always goes to like the highest
upper
point.
part.
So, like if I mark, yeah, and that's annoying. What other UI problem? I don't know. Nothing comes in mind right now. I'm sure I have some other complaint. Actually, let me check my document real quick. Do you have anything in mind you want to say? Well, I'm trying to go
let me see. Like as far as like improvements, because I'm trying to think what else. Like I do. I feel like these echo things, when somebody brought up that these echoes were a problem, I didn't understand why. Like not the holograms. Where is it? The tacit fields. Yeah.
Oh, what about the tacit field?
I think just so much how they're expensive, right? And it's the only way to get like Echo EXP and everything.
Oh yeah.
And you
They
want to
should-
be able
that's why,
to.
that's why I mentioned earlier that they should make the
Mm.
echo. The echo is like available as the material, upgrade material. So you don't have to rely on like the
Oh wait,
solely from the tacit field.
wait, Kara, are you saying that weapons can be unlocked when you're upgrading them? Like, so if I try to upgrade this one with, it says it's unlocked there. I don't know who that is. Oh, wow, so you're upgrading, you want to be. Oh, gotcha.
What did Kara said?
Like, she wants to be able to lock weapons once you, like, when you're upgrading them and you've noticed that, like, this is a weapon that you don't want to have, like, sent away. Oh, and Khan, once you do get underground, finish exploring, because there's another path that you can unlock, but you have to, like, get through the backside of it first, and then you can open up another entrance into this area. You can only lock weapons from the backpack. Okay.
You can only lock items. Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, I agree with that. That's also annoying.
Do they have a? I think they have a system in place where it's like if you get a 4-star, it automatically locks it for you, right?
Yeah, they do that. Even in Genshin, they do that too, right?
Yeah.
4-star above always locks immediately.
No, usually that's an option. Do they have that as an option here, or is it like? In Genshin, you can lock weapons and yeah. Genshin does it very well.
But Genshin does that after a while. They didn't do that when they first came out.
Yeah, Star Rail did, but Star Rail already had all the lessons learned.
Star Rail just had all the experience that Genshin had. That's why it was way better in the UI, and that's why like I don't know why WoWa copied Genshin's UI, like old UI, instead of like. Instead of like
they probably just didn't have time
SSR.
to change it once Honkai Star Rail came out, because this game's been in development for a while, hasn't it?
I mean, HSR came out like 1 year ago. I'm sure they had plenty of time to upgrade the UI.
I don't know.
But then again, a lot of part of their games are kind of scrappy.
I feel like UI can also be dependent on your in-game systems, right? So they may have had to rework a lot of that.
They had a lot of like this, like for example the one that you mentioned earlier, when you want to track a certain like enemies, you gotta press track from this. They're gonna bring you to the echo hunting, and then you have to detect them, and they're gonna bring you to the map. It kind of breaks the game apart. It kind of like breaks the pace of the game, because like the game was like fast responsive, like action, like fully like full of combats and stuff, and then you get to the boring part where you have to like track a monsters. And then there, like in that area, there's gonna be only one single group of monsters, and then the next one is like on another teleportation area. So you gotta like go to the map again, scroll over, and then teleport to another point of the area. And I'm like, it kind of like I wouldn't say ruin the immersion. It ruins the game flow, I think, if you kind of get what I'm trying to say. Because imagine like if you're playing Starfield. I don't know if you have played it, but like the game has so much loading screens that you have
yes.
action.
I've heard about that.
People,
Yeah.
And then you get into the loading screen, and then you fight 2 more people, and then you get another loading screen, and then like it's like one boss fight and then loading screen, and then you're gonna go to another planet and it's more loading screen, and I'm like, what the fuck?
I do hope that is one thing that they fixes. I've noticed like sometimes like normally the game's very fast when it comes to loading. But sometimes I'll hit this like one loading screen where it's just like it takes forever to load for some reason. And it's just like it's randomly. Yeah.
It's so random. Sometimes it persists for a while, but eventually it fixes itself.
Right.
So it's they had a lot of like random things to fix. I also hope they officially release honestly I don't need them to. But like, I wish they do the official like 120 FPS.
Oh yeah.
Soon. It's like mine is already 120 right now, but I had to modify my file for it. So it's really smooth. I love it. I love it. I don't know why Genshin wouldn't do it.
Well, they did, but only on iPad.
Yeah, I don't know why they do it only on iPad. That's the craziest thing. They could have done it. It's not like it's impossible. It's just they did it on iPad for some reason.
And it's like it's so weird too, because it's like how good does it even look on the iPad? I mean, I guess iPads are pretty beefy now.
It doesn't look as good, but it does like it is somewhat decent. But it's still the mobile version. It's not going to be as good.
I'll try. I guess it would be the mobile one that they would put on there, right?
Oh yeah, because like it's an iPad.
Right.
You cannot put the normal version on it.
Oh, as a side note, do you think we'll get that instructor guy as a character at some point?
The Yan guy, I think so. And it's possible.
The really like buff guy and everything. He's like, he looks so cool. I want him as it. And he showed up in the in Act 6, right? So he didn't
like the
fight,
guy with this in the simulation training, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think he would. I think he should.
Doesn't Apple have better chips in the iPad than they do their laptops? Oh, that's an interesting thing.
Right now, yeah, because they released the Apple like the iPad with M4, and the laptop doesn't even have I think the MacBook barely has like M3. I think.
Interesting.
Like the M3 just got released like late last year or something like that, like not too far, and now the iPad already has like M4.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so like the iPad has better chip. It just doesn't have the Mac OS support. So like it's still an iPad at the end of the day. You're still limited to like all the iPad OS stuff.
Mocha, did you see the new laptop that Windows is coming out with?
The one
AI,
with the Snapdragon stuff.
The one with like the AI like stuff in it.
Yeah. Yeah, the one with the Qualcomm stuff like that's coming out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was interested in buying it, and then I heard about the Copilot feature.
Yeah.
You know.
But you can't turn it off. But it is.
The fact that they can do it is already freaking concerning.
But it'll be interesting to see if that's the route that companies start to take now, right?
I don't want the company to take. Like I said, I understand like business needs to make money, but goddamn it, this gotta stop. Some things are just way too far.
But yeah, let's see. Is there anything else that we want to talk about? Because I think we've been going on for about almost 3 hours now.
I know, right? We've been talking for quite a while. So
do you have anything else in your document to cover?
I mean, I got a whole ass like scoring system in it, so like I could have gone more.
Ooh.
But like a lot of my a lot of like the things that the game can improve is for me. And we've talked about the bug fixes, the 120 FPS, the energy cost adjustment, the echoes, the UI.
Yep.
I think they could improve the graphics, personally, just because the engine has more features. So like after the bug fixes is done, honestly, if they could improve, like if they could expand the graphics, that would be nice.
What would you like to see, like kind of?
We got the LSS already. Might as well put like ray tracing on it.
Oh, okay.
Like just an option. I'm saying, like it's already there. And I think I heard that this game is developed as a PC game first, and then ported into phone. So technically, this game could have done it.
Which would make sense because I've heard the phone is the one with the more issues on it, right? Than the.
Yeah, that's why. I think that's why a lot of people said there's more issue with it because like the game, this game was built on PC first, and then it's like modded into the phone. So I think they could do that. They should fix the dubbing issues. I think the next
definitely.
Story chapter needs like the voice actors are doing has a great voice, but their direction needs a lot of improvement.
Which I've heard that they have, so that they want to fix that. So
yeah, I'm not fully blaming the director. The director definitely take most of the blame. But I think the
some of it's with the company
voice
too.
Actor, like no, some of them is on the voice actor themselves. Because like imagine this, like if the voice directing is bad, then technically the whole story should have been bad, right? But like some actors manage to like adapt.
Well,
Like
but
for
that's
example,
but you can't blame that because it's like I think that just comes down to experience, right? And like if nobody's giving you direction,
yeah,
it's like
yeah. That's why I'm not really gonna talk much about it. I'm just saying that it's not 100% the director's fault, but like it's mostly their like.
I think it's
fault.
more the company's fault, right? Because they didn't give the voice directors to be like, hey, you have to talk about like this is how all the characters should be.
The company is the voice actor technically, because like like as a company, the director would have known like how the story goes. That's why they should have like directed more, and they should have like complained when the voice actor makes mistakes. Because like when the voice actor did the line and they didn't do the line correctly, like they should have like been able to like correct them.
To say that they didn't do it correctly would be that they were given a way to do it wrong, you know. Or I guess right.
I mean, we don't know how the script goes, because like some people manage to adapt to it. So I'd say like if I had to make it as like a number, I'd say like 10% of it is the talent's fault. Maybe from not necessarily fault, but maybe a lack of experience, or like
from what
maybe fault, but like 90% is like the directors.
Because at least what the voice actors have said and like some of the like podcasts and stuff I've seen is that they were just given like
I'm pretty sure we're
talking
about I'm pretty sure we're talking about the same podcast here.
Yeah. The Gotcha Cast, right? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I get from it too. That's why I was like, it makes sense what he's saying. But like him, like the people that shows up on like those podcasts are like the people that actually voice the character well, right?
And they're like, part of the British cabal of voice actors that are trying to take over the world. So.
I think it makes sense that when you say like part of the reason they all managed to succeed is because all of them seems to be had a lot of experience in the voice acting in general. So like when they given even though the direction was bad, they managed to salvage it, because like Jian, freaking awesome. Scar, very like great. Like although I like the character is not necessarily my favorite, but the voice is very good. Solid. Like the voice is very good, and it fits the personality really well. So like not my favorite character, but like it's a solid character.
I agree. It was a little off-putting after I saw that podcast, and then I did Jian's story quest, because he mentioned that he'd voiced the character there. And then after he said that, it's like I noticed it right away. I'm like, oh, that guy just auto.
Oh yeah, like Alto immediately when he said it, like immediately when he talked, I was like, this is freaking Alto.
Which is so weird because he sounds so different as like Silver Ash and some other characters. So, but I guess that was closer to his own.
Games, but I think he said like his other voice is supposed to be really deep.
Yeah.
And he also mentioned about how like when he does the audition, he used a super deep voice, and then when he came like to meet the people, they were like, "Hey guys," he used like a gremlin voice. That's crazy. The range on that guy.
Yeah, that's right. I would love to be able to do more ranges and stuff with my voice. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping to. Maybe one day I'll be able to do that. But yeah, voice acting needs. Like hopefully moving forward the direction is clearer, so like the actor can like can do better, and like the actor could also adapt better, maybe like do more improvisations. Because like I really love seeing like how like because like even like the podcast mentioned like how like sometimes you just gotta try to like do things your own way.
Yeah. Because a
lot of them mentioned that they do it like based on instinct, right? Like they didn't train or anything. They just like, oh, this feels right.
Yeah, and like how in Genshin, like Venti does a lot of like songs and stuff, like in the English voiceover. But it's he really only ever does it in the English one, and that's because the voice, said they offered to do it that way, right? And then they were like, yeah, that sounds really good. Let's go with that. So. Definitely like
that's
being
great.
confident.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking forward. Like it gives the character more personality, because like, yeah, I just don't know how to explain it. Like it's just
yeah.
You just know that like when it's like all like when it's something art related, it's just things that like you do with your own heart and like your own feelings. It's just different than like reading the script. Other than that, typos. God.
Oh yes. The also like not so much with the typos, like when it doesn't show the whole message.
Oh yeah.
That's so annoying.
That's so annoying, and you cannot even scroll it. That's the thing.
Mhm.
There is no way to scroll it. The character keeps yapping about things that it's not listed in the subtitle, and then sometimes like the translation is not even right. So like they talk like some lines doesn't even fit what the character said.
Mhm.
Like the character said something like it. I think they're trying they had the same meaning. They just said it with different words, and I'm like, I thought all you had to do is like
Yep.
freaking read the text. Like I don't know what happened there, but yeah, there's also a lot of typos, like just mistakes here and there. So like that's also one of the reasons I said like this game seems to be really lacking in like development time or funding, like one of the two, because like mistakes like that only happens when like people doesn't check the game. And like if you don't have time to check the game, that means like the game is being rushed with one reason or another.
Yeah.
So that's how I come to like the earlier conclusion of like.
And to be fair, like they even in the closed beta 2, I don't think they had everything like voiced and even like a proper translation. So they were still fixing things right up to the very end. So.
And that's fine. Closed beta is still beta, but once you go to that 1.0, that should have been.
It should have been all fixed. Yep.
Yeah.
Completely agree. Oh, and that's really cool, Carol. I had no idea about that.
That's the gist
because
of what I
Blitzer does
have
very
on, like,
well.
my list, honestly. If I had to go into like each scoring of like what I have, because like when I did the story, I had the dialogue itself, I had the writing, and we did talk about it. We haven't even really like explained, like we haven't really delved deep into like the whole character thingy. We did like touch into it like with like the Ling Yang and stuff, but like we haven't even talked about like the GN character. I did talk about the combat and the movement. Yeah, GN is really good. It's like it's pretty solid. I wouldn't say perfect, but it's really solid. It's like
yeah.
Solid 8, I think, at least. And then we haven't even talked about like the world design and everything.
Oh yeah, the world design and exploration is very good.
Yeah, the world is really decent. The puzzles, a lot of them are way too easy. I think
there were like one or two that got me, but for the most part they were pretty easy.
Kinda gave me a bit of challenge, but I
but
think
to be honest,
to be
honest, I'm kind of fine with that, with this random exploration. But hopefully they do some more crazier stuff in the future. I would be interested to see what they come up with, right?
Yeah. The music, pretty solid. Nothing too spectacular, I think, in my opinion.
The problem is, I think I ran into that music bug a lot because I don't remember a lot of the music, and then I realized that the music wasn't actually playing for me. So
yeah, they never played, right? I think like the music on like the Jinzhou, the city itself, is typical music. I don't know. It feels like listening to like Liye, basically. Same vibe, like exactly the same vibe. So like it's like nothing special. I think I'm just spoiled with like how Hoyo first, when they released the game, they got this banger music.
Yes.
Like for example, like Genshin, when Genshin released music, when Genshin first released the game, like they got Zhongli when they do the character trailer, they got this banger music, right?
I don't know. I feel like in general,
like,
though,
so iconic. Yeah.
I'll be honest. In general, even if the music was working, I'm not someone that even really pays attention to it.
Oh, you don't pay attention to it?
Yeah. It
helps with the atmosphere, though.
It does. Like, I feel like,
and having it.
I feel like for me, like when you don't notice the music, I feel like that's probably the best thing, right? Because it's there to accentuate and make stuff better. So it's like I don't pick it up, but I still know. I notice it when it's not there. You know what I mean? Or when it's like bad.
Okay. Yeah.
And so like if it's good and I don't notice it, then you know,
I think
that's
for me, when I don't notice it, that's it can be either two way. The best thing that for me, the best music. I mean, a music that I don't notice, it's like for music like instrumental like this, but like something like what HSR did with like the boss fight and like the epic music, that is something that you notice and like you like.
Yeah,
this.
yeah, definitely.
And that could work too. So like I think they need one of the two. And
true.
they managed to kind of do it in the last area, the Norfolk area. I like the music on that area. That's the only thing I can.
Some boss music, like
remember.
the Hellrider, has a really cool like guitar solo and stuff. But
Yeah.
I think it kind of gets drowned out a little bit by all the bike noises that he does.
I know, and like the fight is so fast paced, you probably wouldn't notice.
Yeah.
The music anyway.
Definitely.
But like the music on the Norfolk area, I think is really unique. That's the only thing I can really pay attention to. Everything else doesn't really stick in my mind, I think. That's all. This is also just me, but I notice like sometimes when you walk on like different terrain, like for example, you're walking on concrete and then you're walking on the dirt, it sounds the same. So I think that I noticed like I'm just someone that notices like small stuff like that. So like I noticed they cutting a lot of corners in order to like make the game like have the game come out in time. So I hope like they can refine that in the future.
Yeah, it's like I've been very bad at noticing that, like because I'll say like when I play with friends with Apex, they'll be like, oh, there's somebody above us or like to the left of us, because I hear their footsteps and everything. I'm like, how the heck? You're like sonar over here.
Yeah,
with all this.
At some point, I just got used to it. Like a mix of like playing competitive games and like playing games that are like high budget. You gotta notice that kind of stuff. Cause like in high budget, you know, I gotta notice which games kind of like skims.
Right.
And which game
I can see that like with experience, like
yeah,
you can just start to pick it up better.
Target confirmed.
But like honestly, this gonna sound like a nitpick, because like most people that play a game like this is like kind of casual, right?
Yeah, but it's still a good thing to notice, right? Because it, like, I think I would probably notice it more if it was like walking through like snow or something, right? Or
I think you would notice it a lot, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's not really egregious though. They skim on parts that most people wouldn't notice. Like for example, like walking concrete and like walking on the dirt. I don't think most people will like notice that difference, but
it's still a good thing to pay attention to, and maybe they'll add some more stuff in the future for
maybe
that.
They do. Maybe now that the game is actually making money, and they're not pressured to like release the game anymore, because like all they have to do is like do the up, like it's not gonna be that big of an update until like 2.0, right? So like they have time hopefully to improve the game. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, and with how many hotfixes they're pumping out, I'm sure they care about it. So.
Oh yeah, thank God. I'm glad.
I'm
glad they're doing better than Genshin already.
Yes. All right, so let's see. Anything else, or should we start to wrap this up?
Oh, hi you too. Oh, Ruby Hota came up.
Hmm?
Hello, Hota. Hota said hi.
Oh, hello, Hota.
I don't think I have anything else to talk unless you have something else to say.
No, I think I'm good. Although I think I'm feeling a sneeze coming on. There it is. Okay.
Bless you.
Thank you. But yeah, no, I think that kind of covers everything for the moment. I am interested to see more, like what people think about the story after they've given it some time to cool off. I do like hearing your perspective on it too. So,
hey, it's really, been really fun. Even if sometimes we're like on the opposite end of like opinions.
But honestly, I'm just looking forward to see where they go from here, because they have a good start. They just got to keep going and expanding on it, and hopefully they do.
I certainly do hope. You know, I'm keeping my fingers crossed for now. But I'm just gonna wait until like 1.1, 1.2. We'll see how like they're gonna do it. If they're gonna like keep listening to us, or if they eventually turn into like MiHoYo number 2.
Hopefully not.
No.
Or at least if they do, it doesn't happen until a couple years, right? Let's at least get a little bit of time. All right. But if that's everything, then I think we'll probably close it. So is there anything you want to shout out or talk about, or
I mean, shout out to like sequel 404 for like keeping me company for like the past 3 hours, guys.
Yeah, no. It's been a lot of fun. We'll have to, because this is our second time doing this. We'll have to see if we want to do this, like if we want to come up with a schedule for this, or what we want to do as far as this format's concerned. So.
We should probably discuss it a bit more. Maybe one of these days we can invite more of our friends to like talk about it.
Yep.
You know, getting different perspective on some games would be great too. Maybe we can get a perspective from someone that doesn't play games as much.
Ooh.
And
that could be
like, hey, what do you guys think? Do you guys like it? Like when games games allows you to play for 15 minutes and then lock off, or do you guys prefer something that you can grind for hours on end?
Right. That could be cool.
That would be really cool.
We'll have to work through some of that, but yeah, if that's it, you ready to call it?
Sounds good to me, sir.
All right. Well, thank you again, everybody, for stopping by, and we'll see you all again next time. Later.
Bye. Thanks, guys.